This is the Discover Card Countdown to Green as we get ready to go racing.
For the 71st time, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series has come to the historic 2-mile Michigan International Speedway, and the stakes have never been higher. Mathematically, 26 drivers still have a chance to race into the top 10. Realistically, the racing roster is just 18. And the challenge today, this wide and wicked fast track, where drivers charge down racing's thinnest line, that line that separates horsepower from heartbreak.
That's 2 weeks in a row for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship leader.
Today was all my fault.
Transmission trouble on the 24. What a disappointing day for Hendrick Motorsports. Last week, the championship leaders struggled, and the focus shifted to the race to the chase. The tempting turns of Watkins Glen did exactly what was expected. Tighten the field from 1st to 15th. Now, Jeremy Mayfield has what the other drivers want. 10th place in a valuable race. And 5 outsiders within 100 points. Today, Michigan, fast and furious. 4 races until the cut. And every driver knows exactly what they have to do. TNT Sports presents the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, live from the Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. 4 races remain to secure a starting spot in NASCAR's multi-million-dollar championship derby. And as the race tightens, the challenge becomes tougher. Hi, everybody. The TNT Race family welcomes you to Michigan. I'm Bill Weber. For the first time since July 3rd in the Pepsi 400, the top 10 drivers in the championship standings are within 500 points of the leader. And some teams are cautiously considering that magic 400-point mark. 4 races from now, after Richmond, everyone in the top 10 in the standings and any driver within 400 points of the leader will be eligible to chase the championship over the final 10 events. Now, qualifying here was rained out for the 2nd straight week, so the field was set by the NASCAR rulebook. That puts the guys at the top of the standings at the front of the field. We start this week with last week's winner. Here's Dave Burns.
With Tony Stewart, who won last week and led the most laps. Smoke getting some help from his friends over here. You can make it 2 in a row today, duplicating what you did here in June of 2000. What do you think chances are?
That's hard to say. I mean, we weren't the fastest car in happy hour for a single lap. McMurray, cut it down.
Yeah, he'll be later.
Yeah, we're going to get him. So you got to wear a cup in this series when you come out the driver introductions. But
it's the Cup Series.
Yes, exactly. So needless to say, though, I think we got the Home Depot Monte Carlo pretty good. It's you know, we got a pretty neat paint scheme this weekend with the Olympic athletes on, and we want to do a really good job for them. We're really proud of them over there and really proud of Home Depot for their involvement in the Olympics. But, you know, we didn't put up big numbers as far as a fast lap yesterday, but our car was really good on long runs. So, you know, hopefully Zippy did some things to make it a little bit faster on the front, but, you know, not let it give up on the end of the run at the same time.
4th in the championship. He'll start outside row 2 today. To Matt Yoakum.
Jimmie Johnson, best in points, but also best this year. The fewest finishes of 20th or worse. 2 of his last 4, though. Coming the last is Tony Stewart's paying you back for trying to interrupt his interview. But how important, Jimmy, over the past 2 weeks to get back on track with some good momentum here this weekend?
That's important. I mean, you know, we hate to lose the points advantage that we've had, but, you know, at the same time, we've been taking some chances with the new point system that's in place. We've been using the races as a testing experience for us, and some have worked, some haven't. You know, last weekend was something we were trying. I made a mistake, and it cost us a good finish. So we'll move on from there. It's important to have momentum back, and we're hoping to get that back today, get a top 3, top 5 finish, and move on. But we're really focused on that final 10. We've got our testing set aside, and this Lowe's team and all of Hendrick Motorsports, we're ready for it, and hopefully we get that momentum back today.
He starts from the pole. The last time the pole sitter won a race here at Michigan was actually the guy who co-owns his race car, Jeff Gordon, back in 2001. To Marty Snyder.
Well, Matt, 2-time Michigan winner Ryan Newman fell from 12th or 10th to 12th in the championship standings last week. And is a sense of urgency more tangible now that you guys are outside of the chase for the championship, Ryan?
Sense of urgency more tangible. You know, we're just trying the best that we can every week, and it's got us to 12th right now, and we'll keep trying our best and see if we can get to the top 10 and eventually first if that happens. But all we can do is keep trying our best and put the Altel Dodge in the right position and see where we're at when the checker flag falls.
Ryan Newman hoping to roll over the field here at Michigan like Dale Jarrett has done 4 times before.
A great race there at the end with Davey. I didn't know if I could beat him and hold him off, but I was able just to beat him by a couple feet.
Probably the best race car I've ever driven.
This day's going to be all about Dale Jarrett.
Driver, that's what I call drama on TNT today, baby.
And Dale Jarrett hopes to deliver some more drama dropping by the wagon. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Do you know how far you are out of 10th? How many points?
I know it's 80-something. I'm not
87.
exactly sure.
Yeah. So what's your sense of urgency then?
Yeah, it's not that big. I mean, we go do the same thing we do every week. We come to win the race. And if we can't win, then we try to accumulate as many points as we possibly can. But we are at a racetrack to where we feel like this is our shot to try to get to victory lane. That will ensure us of gaining points on 10th.
Because you have been very successful at this place.
We have been very successful. I love to race here. Probably my favorite racetrack, as I tell people. Just a fun racetrack to race on. So hopefully we've got the car today to have a lot of fun.
3rd here in June, and your team has been strong. A little bit of trouble last week at Watkins Glen. How about today? What's going to happen?
Yeah, same race car we had here that was very good. We made a few adjustments yesterday in practice. And, you know, this is about everything. You've got to have a good engine. I think that probably Elliott Sadler and myself had the best engines that we've ever had in any race car here today. The car drives good. You've got to get through the corners. You have to be aggressive to a certain point and know when that aggression can take over and work to your advantage.
How do you feel about the format?
You know, it is what it is. It's what we have to race with. So whether you like it or don't like it, that's what we knew going into this year we were going to have. So we have to make the most of it. I'd be crazy to say right now I didn't like it because I have a chance. It could give me the opportunity to get that 2nd championship without really having a championship year to this point. But we can put ourselves in that position with these next 4 races running well.
Okay, you get hungry driving 400 miles here?
No, I'm hungry for a win.
Okay, well, Elliott Sadler dropped off some M&Ms.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Enjoy those during the race.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it.
Dale Jarrett rolls off 14th. Here's a look at the top 20. Heading into today's race, Jimmy Johnson's lead is the smallest in 5 races. The most points any driver can gain in one race, 156. That means 7th place Kurt Busch could leave here as high as 5th or as low as 12th. 13th place Mark Martin could leave here 8th. We'll see who shows us the horsepower and who suffers the heartbreak. That's the first lap. Here's what's coming up on the Discover Card Countdown to Green.
Rookie Casey Kane finished 2nd here in June. From tiny Enumclaw, Washington to the big leagues. Today, Casey makes his pitch for his first Nextel Cup victory. Dave discovers the multiple grooves at Michigan. In racing, the fastest way around isn't always the shortest. Wally Dallenbach makes sure you'll have enough fuel to reach the finish. And Benny Parsons shows us all the guys on pit road aren't guys. All that and 4-time Michigan winner Mark Martin coming up on the Discover Card Countdown to Green.
Discover Card Countdown to Green. Brought to you by Discover Card. It pays to discover. And by AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Reigning series champion Matt Kenseth won here in June of 2002 and was 7th in June of this year. He starts 5th. Casey Mears makes his 4th Michigan start from 16th. His best finish here, 20th. This is a popular place to race. It's wide, fast, multiple grooves. That means there's more than just one lane to race in. The goal of every guy in the driver's seat to find his own personal fast lane. Now, Dave Burns, if a guy can pull that off, this can be a very groovy experience.
Yeah, and here's the question, Bill. If you had the choice on a final lap sprint between running the low line or the high line at this track, what would you choose?
I'm taking the inside line. I'm a low groove guy.
Well, and obviously, because it is shorter, it's the turns that makes the difference on an oval track. Their inner radius is shorter than their outer radius. In other words, the low groove is a shorter way around the track than the high groove. And at this track, it's an extra 400 feet less if you run the inside groove. But here's the problem. A 3,400-pound race car going into the turns at 200 miles an hour, it's not going to groove the shorter, lower groove all day long. You are going to see cars move up and use these higher lines all day long. So, Bill, I got to thinking.
Oh, boy, about what?
If I had a car that was faster in the higher line than your car on the short, lower line, I could beat you.
Yeah, but you'd have to be hustling it around pretty good.
Well, that's true. I've done the math, and it's an extra 7 miles per hour. If I'm 7 miles an hour faster, I can beat you on the outside line, even though it's 400 feet longer.
That's a pretty good clip.
Well, it is, but that's an extreme example to make up the entire 400-foot distance. But it is very possible. Here's the bottom line. For drivers using the higher line, they're going to have more speed than the drivers using the lower line if they hope to beat them to the finish line.
Okay, Dave, thanks a lot. And we have seen some of that coming down out of turn 4. Some very close finishes in the history of racing here at Michigan. This is a very fast track. The pole-winning speed here in June was over 190 miles per hour. But being fast at Michigan isn't enough. You must make certain you have enough fuel to reach the finish. If this comes down to fuel mileage today, as races here at Michigan have in the past, Wally Dellenbach explains that the winning edge could be 1 foot.
Welcome to Michigan in my Mountain Dew car. Now, last week at Watkins Glen, I explained to you how left foot braking was fast. Well, left foot braking can cost you here at Michigan this week, and I'll explain why. There's 2 ways drivers brake. Most of the guys left foot brake, like we showed you last week, but some guys right foot brake. Now, when you right foot brake in a place like Michigan, that saves fuel. Approaching the corner, left foot braker will keep his right foot on the throttle. He'll lift off the gas and he'll apply the brake with his left foot. But his right foot is always laying on the throttle and burning that valuable fuel. Now, here's where the right foot brakers have a little bit of an advantage in Michigan. As they approach the corner, they keep their left foot off to the side. They pull the right foot off the throttle, and they hit the brake with the right foot. That completely removes their foot from the gas, so there's no way of stealing that fuel, even when you think you're off the throttle. That can really pay off at the end of this race. Another thing I'd like to cover is a lot of people ask me, why do you run so close to the wall? 2 reasons. One is, as you approach the corner, you want to arc your car down into the corner. So you want to get to the right as far as possible to make a nice swing that helps the car arc into the corner. If you don't do that and you run in straight down at the bottom, you have to slow the car down more, and the car will want to push and go straight. That's the first reason. Second reason, why do you run so close to the wall, running 180 miles per hour? My answer is simple. It's fun. Can I stay out a little longer?
Sorry, Wally, you've been black flagged. Get up to the booth before we use our right foot. On this sunny day, a cloud hangs over the garage. Veteran racer Tom Baldwin was killed Thursday night in the modified race at Stafford Speedway in Connecticut. Baldwin's son Tommy Jr. is the crew chief for Casey Kane. Baldwin began his racing career in Long Island, New York in 1964. He was always one of the most colorful personalities in the sport. He joined the NASCAR Modified Series in 1985. He won 6 times, and just last season he was named the series' most popular driver. Tommy Baldwin was 57.
Kenseth slides up the racetrack. Casey Kane cuts it to the bottom. Kane is on the move, going for the win at Rockingham.
Casey Kane works to the inside lane, pulls even with Matt Kenseth at the line by inches. It is Matt Kenseth scoring the win in the Subway 400. What a fantastic run for young Casey Kane. Only his 2nd NASCAR Nextel Cup Series run.
Rookie Casey Kane has really stepped up to the plate this season. 4 second-place finishes, 11th in the championship standings, and one of People Magazine's 50 hottest bachelors, all at the age of 24. But you'd never hear about any of it from Casey. He's as quiet as he is competitive. He's from Enumclaw, Washington, just outside of Seattle. A few weeks ago, he got to throw out the first pitch at a Mariners game. Naturally, it was a fastball. Now his fans are waiting for this all-star to drive in with a winning run.
Describe Casey the driver, because you would have to know.
Intense. Casey's intense. Why he's a good driver is because he drives with his brain and his heart.
He's quiet, isn't he?
He's quiet. I don't call him shy. He thinks before he speaks. He's always been that way, and he doesn't say a lot. He just says what needs to be said.
I have a temper, a real temper when it comes to racing, and I don't show quite as much anymore, but just because of, you know, you don't want to throw the fits and things on TV and look like a baby, so I kind of quit doing that, but definitely can definitely get real, you know, excited when it comes to racing.
He's still soft-spoken and quiet sometimes, but most of the time he's pretty fun, and I like him coming places because he usually buys, so makes it cheaper on everybody else.
Family values from the friendly Northwest. Tiny Enumclaw is a quiet community relaxing in the shadow of snow-capped Mount Rainier. Loggers and farmers have called it home for more than 150 years. Its newest export, Casey Kane, native son, NASCAR star. For the Kane kids, the seeds of a racing career were planted on their farm and fertilized by the excitement of the sprint car team owned by their father.
My dad built a dirt track, oval dirt track out in our field, and had banking to it and everything. It was pretty cool.
What was the key to winning?
We didn't have enough sets of goggles, so if you were out in the front, then you weren't in the dust.
So what was it like when you were last then, with no goggle?
Well, you just let off and try to wreck the leader.
Did you watch that? Did you participate in any of that? Yeah.
Sometimes they would have me come out and be the lap car. When he was 14, he came to me one day and he just said, "Mom, I'm going to race a sprint car someday. As soon as I grow up and leave home, I'm racing."
When did he start showing that ability that, yeah, I think he can do this?
The second race he was in.
While committed to racing, Casey never ran from the other 3 R's. He got in the gas academically so he could move to the Midwest and graduate to the next level of competition.
Casey took night classes, so he went after school to school again so that he could graduate early.
He was taking college courses through Green River Community College as a high school student. So, you know, that in and of itself, it's a year-long course. He finished in 3 months.
You took everything you'd always worked for in the racing business, basically, loaded it up into a truck, put your son and your daughter in the truck, and all that stuff left town at the same moment.
They drove out the driveway. Yep, that was a tough day.
Being that young, were you frightened at all, or were you...
I was just excited. We worked hard all winter long to get the cars ready and be able to go race, and, you know, I was just excited it was time that we got to go.
From Enumclaw, NASCAR's newest superstar, Casey Kane.
I enjoy, you know, coming back and, you know, seeing the people that have helped me throughout everything I've ever done, and so yeah, it's something that's real important to me.
Today, his family is still raising Kane. Younger brother Cale is coach driver, confidant, and pit crew member. Cousin Cole is his spotter. And Mom runs his fan club, where business is steamy after Casey made People's 50 hottest bachelors.
Like one girl wrote to him and said, "Casey, I just can't live without you."
What's he like?
What's he like?
Yeah.
Cute.
Why are you smiling?
He's hot.
He's what?
He's hot.
He is?
Yeah, you gotta support the local boys.
You know, I've obviously grown up a lot. I've, you know, done a lot of different things and learned a lot, but when it comes down to it, I'm still the same person I've been for a long time, and, you know, hope to stay that way.
Families are a mainstay in NASCAR. You've gotten a taste of the Kane family. We're all thinking about the Baldwin family this weekend. Your crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, obviously. Yeah, 4 second-place finishes, though, this year, and a little extra motivation today, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a track we've done well at, and, you know, all of our thoughts and prayers are with the Baldwins right now, and, you know, this will be a great day to get a win for Tommy and his whole family.
You have been awesome in this race car you're driving today. Finished second with it here in June. How good was it yesterday?
It was a lot better yesterday than it was in June, so we'll see what happens today.
There you go, better than that. And a little tidbit, Bill, the Koss family is driving us around the racetrack. In June, they drove Ryan Newman around the racetrack, and he won the race.
Thanks, Marty. A point of clarification. Tom Baldwin's wreck Thursday night occurred at Thompson Speedway. The entire garage rooting for Tommy Baldwin here at this track today. Our feelings are also with the Baldwin family. Michael Waltrip's best finish at this track, 4th in June of 2002. He has 4 top 10 finishes in his last 5 starts here. He rolls off 17th. Next to Rusty Wallace, a 5-time winner at Michigan. He's looking for his first top 10 finish in Charlotte in May, 11 races ago.
Discover Card Countdown to Green. Brought to you by Discover Card. It pays to discover. And by Little Debbie. When you're on the go, nothing sounds as good as a Little Debbie single-serve snack. Unwrap a smile.
Four events remain in the race to the chase. There's a battle up front, and there's a battle for last. Let's check back out on the grid with Marty.
A little different view in the chase for the championship for Jeremy Mayfield. Now 10th in the championship. That's a little more relaxing to be in 10th than 11th.
I don't know. It's about the same, really, but we're just going to try to throw all that aside, not worry about points, and you know, try to keep our Dodges up front today and run fast. But right now, we're not worried about it. We're just going to race like we've been racing and just be there at the end.
Jeremy riding the wave of 5 straight top 11 finishes. Matt?
Jeff Gordon has 2 wins here in the Irish Hills. His second was the 100th win for owner Rick Hendrick. Now, a win today would be big, and you saw Kyle Busch's marks out on the front stretch. You said he had a lot of fun yesterday. How about fun for you today?
Well, we'd love to be adding to some marks out there on that front straightaway. We got a great race car today, and you know, the team's just been phenomenal lately. And Michigan's one of my favorite tracks, and you know, as good as these cars and the power that we've had underneath the hood's been, you know, I think we got a great shot at a great run today.
7 top 10s over the last 10 races, chasing his 3rd win here at MIS. Marty?
Well, Dave, it's the month of August, so that must mean that Kevin Harvick and his gang are starting to pick up momentum. You got a kind of a roll here lately. Do you feel like the team finally has the consistency to gain some ground in the championship?
Well, I think we've been gaining, and you know, we've done what we had to do and finished in the top 10 and made laps and just tried to start testing and doing the things we had to do to get better. So the Jim Goodwin Chevrolet was pretty good in practice. Doesn't put up the big number right at the beginning of a run, but all in all, I think it's good. It's even more fun to pick on McMurray. See, watch. See?
Oh, and here comes Tony Stewart to join in to get him back for earlier in the race. See, the fun and frivolity that happens here on pit road happens all the time. He said he owes you one, Jamie, by the way. Tony does.
What? I didn't do anything to smoke. I didn't. No. I think he's just getting Glover back right now. Oh, Glover.
All right. Is that fun, Tony?
This old man's getting worked over here.
All right. Tony Glover, the team manager at Ganassi. Dave?
You know, how apropos now we work to a comic book. Superman helping out Kurt Busch this weekend. Can the Man of Steel help you protect that 7th place position in the chase for the championship?
Definitely. That's what we're banking on. And if you find different villains or different foes and all the different types of corners that we have today, we'll have to use the Superman powers to blast through it or see through it or use any kind of powers we can to get through it.
Kurt will take what he can get. Marty, I don't know what's going on, but back to you.
We're going to talk to Mark Martin, who jumped from 15th to 13th last week off of a 3rd place finish. Nice run for you last week. Can you duplicate that this week, Mark?
We've got a really good car here with the Viagra Taurus. Hope it runs like a Batmobile.
The Batmobile would be good, wouldn't it? 2 top 5s in the last 3 races for Mark Martin. Bill?
Thank you, Marty. Nextel Cup racing is a team sport. There are all the people you don't see. Then, of course, there are the people you do see. The driver in the seat, the crew chief on top of the box, and, of course, the over-the-wall guys. Well, as Benny Parsons found out on the 49 team of Ken Schrader, the extra man over the wall is a girl.
So what's a beautiful young lady like you doing hanging around with this bunch of guys?
I'm not really sure. I grew up on a dairy farm, so
did you?
I grew up working outside and just being rough, I guess.
During the week, Angie Messmer is a fabricator on Ken Schrader's Dodges. But on race day, this mother of 2 is the gas runner and the only woman pit crew member in Nextel Cup racing. How difficult is it being a female in a male-dominated sport?
It was definitely challenging at first. It still is challenging, but it's hard at times. You have to prove yourself. Just being female, I think most guys don't think women can pick up a drill and use it right.
Just the way men act and talk, whatever, that really isn't a problem for you?
No.
Good.
I just got to prove I'm tougher.
You got to be tough in this sport. Dale Jarrett is looking for his first win since Rockingham in February of 2003. But he does have those 4 wins here. Now, in 70 races at this track, only twice has the eventual winner started 11th. Both times in August, both times it was Dale Jarrett. including August of 1991, when Dale Jarrett got his first Nextel Cup Series win after starting 11th. All that being said, today Dale Jarrett starts 14th, and nobody has ever won a Nextel Cup race at Michigan after starting 14th. Now, you don't have to look it up because we already did. Well, what's that, you ask? Who's starting 11th today? Well, starting 11th today at Michigan, Casey Kane, looking for his first Nextel Cup Series win. The countdown is at 0, and Nextel Cup racing from Michigan is coming up.
This is when the Discover cars count down to green. Let's go racing.
TNT Sports presents the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, live from the historic Michigan International Speedway. A fast track, a beautiful day, the sun is shining, but you can still see the stars. All 43 of them ready to race, and we're ready to throw it up to the guys in the ties, Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, and Benny Parsons.
Guys in the ties, can you help us work on changing that bill? That's another discussion. Hey, this is a great racetrack here at Michigan. Couple things you can always count on seeing here. Lots of side-by-side racing. And, Benny, somewhere near the end of the day, maybe some fuel mileage figuring in.
Always fuel mileage at this racetrack. As I came to work this morning, I rode around the racetrack. On the apron, I looked up and I said, wow, this place is really wide. And it dawned on me, these drivers use every inch of the racetrack. We'll see the cars 3, 4 wide, even through the corners. Yesterday in the NASCAR Busch Series race, watch these cars go through the corner 3 wide, all about the same speed. A terrific race track for excitement and great racing.
And we'll see them farther apart than that, 4, sometimes 5 wide on the restarts during the day today. Seems like we can't set up a race at this point in the year without talking about the chase. Wally, this track is very tough on the cars mechanically. Could be a big story.
Yes, it is, because you turn a lot of RPMs here, and that kills the engines. Back in June, a couple guys that are in the chase for the championship had engine problems. Jeff Gordon, he had motor problems, as well as Jamie McMurray. So there's some guys that can push the envelope. Some of the guys that are safely in can push the envelope, get those RPMs up there, which makes it faster, go for the win. Some guys got to be careful because, you know what? If they blow that engine, it could take them out of the chase.
Racetrack ate up a lot of engines in the June race here. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out today. And, of course, we're just 70 miles southwest of Detroit. A lot of corporate people here from the brands that support these race teams. Dodge, General Motors, and Ford. This is a home game for them. Bragging rights on the line for the manufacturers in this race today. So we have good weather, another sold-out grandstand, and the drivers all strapped aboard their machines. Now we just need those 4 little words to get the action started.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, with those most famous words in motorsports, here's our Grand Marshal, John Gordon, Sr.
On behalf of Gordon Food Service and 111 Gordon Food Service Marketplace stores, gentlemen, start your engines.
There's a reason this track is sold out, 28 straight races, good racing. And we'll see how today's action unfolds when the green flag waves next. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, about 70 miles southwest of Detroit, where over 140,000 are gathered to watch the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race 400 miles. Cars not yet rolling off pit road and onto the track. They'll begin their parade and pace laps momentarily. No Bud Pole Award winner this week since qualifying was canceled Friday by rain. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier in each NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race. There are the 10 drivers who are qualified for next February's Budweiser Shootout at Daytona. And here we go with a look at the starting lineup for today's race. Field lined up according to provisions in the rule book, so by points, basically, back through the top 35. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon on the front row. Bernard Jr. and Tony Stewart sharing row number 2. Earnhardt Jr. has not yet cracked the top 20 in the last 2 races at Michigan as far as the finish is concerned.
Elliott Sadler on the outside of row 3. Let's try our hand at talking to Elliott. Hey, Elliott Sadler, Benny Parsons, you got me?
Yes, sir. BP, got you loud and clear.
Now, you can check pit road speed and talk to me at the same time, can't you?
I can do both. I spit out my gum, so, yeah, I can do both of those things.
Okay, now you're in your favorite race car, the car you won Texas with. How about today? Can you do it?
I swear I think we can. It's about 200 start. The guys brought my favorite car. We wanted the fastest cars yesterday, so I think if we stay out of trouble all day, we might have some for these boys here by the end of the race.
Your competitors, when I walked through the garage here this morning and asked who was the best, they talked about that 38 car.
Yeah, this car, I think, has never finished outside the top 5, so I have a lot of confidence inside of it, and the guys have maxed it out again. It was real fast yesterday, so we'll see what happens. And I do want to say, BP, everybody at Robert Yates Racing has got Tommy Baldwin and his whole family in our thoughts and prayers, and also all the men and women across in the armed forces fight for our country so we can sit here and do what we love to do every Sunday.
Well, have a big time today, will you, Elliott?
All right, guys, y'all have fun in the booth up there.
Thanks, buddy.
Always. As you look at the rest of the grid, we'll tell you that Ryan Newman has not pulled onto the racetrack with the field. An update there after we finish showing you the starting lineup. Reporting is they think they might have had a flat tire on the 12 as it sat on the grid. So he pulled right into his pit stall. Marty?
Ray Ocean, the tire guy, actually found it when they were on the grid. They asked NASCAR if they could change 4 tires and resume where they were going to start. NASCAR said no. They'll have to start at the back of the field, changing 4 tires here on Ryan Newman's car. The right rear, I believe, is a tire that was flat, Alan.
You know, the problem that Ryan Newman has now is trying to check out pit road speed. Because the first lap that these cars go around, that's when the pace cars are running pit road speed. And now he's got to catch up and try to do that.
Well, fortunately, he's got a teammate that might be able to help him out if they have the same final gear.
If they've got the same final gear and the same transmission.
I suspect they'll figure it out here. This is only the first of the 3 pace laps, so they'll have a ballpark anyway. So you saw that Terry Labonte and Kyle Petty will have to drop to the back on these pace laps, both changing engines during the race weekend after problems, so that's a violation of the 1 engine per weekend rule. And now Ryan Newman trying to join Bill Elliott and David Pearson in winning 3 straight here. Remember, he's won the last 2 at Michigan. He'll have to do so from the back of the pack. That's tough luck.
Yeah, the difficulty scale just went from fairly easy to awfully hard.
All right, while they make the parade and pace laps, let's get some more reports from pit road, and we start with Matt.
Alan, you touched on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s frustrations over the past few races here at Michigan. He's never scored a top 5 finish in Nextel Cup, although he does have 2 top 5s here in a Busch car. Now, the team during Saturday's practice sessions had a great session. The first one, the second one, it was horrible. So they've gone back to the setup from the first session. They're coming off a top 5 last week at the Glen. Their 3rd top 5 finish this summer, so they're expecting good things here today in the Irish Hills. Marty?
Talked to Matt Kenseth before he got in his race car, and he said practice yesterday was not too good. They could never find the balance they wanted on the race car. They were either too loose or too tight, never found the middle ground. Matt said they made several changes this morning, and he doesn't know what to expect. Same car he ran at Indianapolis, and the car was very fast there. Matt said if we can just duplicate that as fast as it was there, we'll be okay today. Dave?
Marty, Jamie McMurray is 15th in the championship right now, just 99 points out of 10th place and the chase for the championship. He is, guys, we'll go back to you right now.
Dave is being moved out of the way for a moment so they can pass some parade cars through where he was standing. But we knew what he wanted to say, which was that Jamie McMurray needs to have a good race.
Yes, he does.
Being 15th in the championship, but only 99 points out of that 10th place. That's going to be one of the big stories, not only today, but next week. The night race at Bristol, where anything can happen.
And usually does.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be huge over these next few weeks.
Looks like Ryan Newman might not have solved his problem because he is once again coming down pit road.
He's just going to top it off.
Can't do that.
No, that's right. You can't do that.
You're not allowed to put any fuel in until you take.
Well, maybe nobody's looking. Maybe nobody's looking. Marty, don't look.
No, they're looking. They've already called it out on the NASCAR radio channel. No fuel in the car. Can't get away with that one, Marty.
Yeah, and Matt Borland reminded them, no fuel in the car, guys. What happened was that Ray Ocean said, you know, I didn't have the tire pressures just like we wanted them, so let's come back down pit road, let's get the tire pressures right, and then we'll put 4 tires on. So that's what they're going to do. They were already starting at the back of the field. So an early setback for the guy who's won the last 2 races here at the Michigan International Speedway.
So the 4 tires that they had to quickly put on there were not adjusted exactly right in air pressure. That's why they came back down. I see.
I hope he wins the race today, because that's going to be an expensive tire bill for Mr. Penske. They've gone through 2 sets of tires before they've taken the green flag.
Surely to goodness they could use that first set that he just ran around the racetrack slowly on.
You never know. Half a lap away from the start. Watch your mailbox for a little blue envelope with the Valpak and TNT logos on the front. You can win a trip to experience NASCAR VIP style or other great prizes. TNT.TV has more details. How many wide on the first time they come by at speed?
It's going to be 3 at least.
The first time by at speed, yeah, at least
down the backstretch, there'll be 3 wide, maybe even 4.
It is 200 laps around this 2-mile track to make up the 400-mile distance. A little bit shy of $5 million on the line. And the bottom number right in there, sloppily written over by yours truly, that's going to be the key number today, because that's going to slide up towards 50.
Well, I think some cars can. When I talked to the engine builders this morning, engine tuners, those guys were really concerned about getting much more than 42 laps on a tank of fuel on green flag racing. Buddy, you're right. It may inch up there. We'll see.
We are underway at Michigan.
There's 3 wide. Michael Walton.
That wasn't even the first time by at speed. Junior running right in on Jimmy Johnson for second.
Jeff Gordon has taken the lead. Now there's a rush hour shot, isn't it? But a little bit faster than 75 miles an hour.
Got 3 wide. Up there in the middle. Trying to make it 4 wide.
Jeff Gordon leads lap 1. Earnhardt Jr. is second. Side by side for third. Tony Stewart inside of Jimmy Johnson. 20 and 28 respectively, with Elliott Sadler just behind them.
And this is what makes this racetrack so fun to drive. Like you talked about at the opening, BP, there's a lot of racetrack you can use here.
Jimmy Johnson.
And they use it.
And they use it.
Working back on Dale Jr. and Stewart going to make it 3 deep in turn 3.
And Tony will see that 20 car down next to that white line most of the day.
Elliott Sadler's got a very good run. 38 car. And the draft will come into play here. As you can see, push the 8 car by the 20 car, Tony Stewart. So it does help.
Casey Kane in the 9 working on Kevin Harvick. Whoa! Little bumper tag there. Wow. For second place, Jimmy Johnson. Oh, trouble. One spinning down at the bottom. It's Casey Kane.
Oh, man.
Good job.
And the caution flag is out. And I don't think he has any damage except to his
4 tires.
4 tires. And
his track position.
Track position is just ruined. And can he get back? Are any of the tires flat? Can he get back? It's like the left front might be flat.
Yep, left front is definitely flat.
So can he get back to the pits without tearing up the fenders?
Well, he's going at a good speed right there. You can get away with it. If he was going any faster, it'd be bad.
Go ahead, Matt.
Alan, that's exactly what he told Tommy Baldwin on the radio. I'm trying to go as fast as I can without damaging the fenders. Those tires coming apart, ripping apart that sheet metal and hurting this race car cosmetically. They've got a big break here. The fact that they haven't done that yet and they weren't hit by anybody else. So cosmetically, that car is A-OK. The crew up on the wall, the Dodge boys, waiting to put 4 fresh tires on that car.
And the good thing about it is this place is such a big racetrack that you can get in here and get the tires changed without losing a lap.
If you remember, if you were with us back for the Brickyard 400 a couple of weeks ago, both Sterling Marlin and Robbie Gordon got flat tires on the track, and the tire came apart, basically ripped the body panels off the car, damaged suspension pieces. Let's take a look at what happened here.
Ever see Junior in the A car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. and he goes in there and gets in the back of the 40. I don't know if he got in the back of him or just got him loose.
I think he got in the back of him.
Either way,
I don't know why.
It elevated Jimmy's heart rate.
Yeah.
And there's Casey, who ends up in the grass. Remember, he and Kevin Harvick went off into that corner side by side.
I knew he was sideways with someone. I was trying to remember who it was. Now, Casey is still not to his pit.
There we go.
The pace car.
There's the in-car camera of Casey. Oh. Took the air off the rear spoiler. When you get two cars side by side like that in the corner, and the high car comes down on you, if you're on the low line, it just sucks the rear of the car around, just like that.
And he was able to get his tire changed. Junior, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s on pit road. I'm sorry, we're going to the replays. Oh, man. That's close.
That's from Dale Jarrett's car. As you were saying.
Junior's, but he brought a lot of cars with him. Bill?
On pit road, Benny, for 4 tires and a chassis adjustment, an early stop. Some of these teams want to get an early grip on this track in case this stays green for a long time. Despite the good track position, Earnhardt Jr. on pit road.
Most of the cars that are pitting there were in the back half of the field, but Earnhardt Jr. gave up a top 5 spot to come in.
Evidently, he was not very happy with that car.
He didn't like what he had.
Yeah.
See Ryan Newman also in, Terry Labonte there, Casey Mears just leaving their pit stalls. Early caution is out in the GFS Marketplace 400 at Michigan. NASCAR on TNT at the Michigan International Speedway as the pace car peels off and we go back to full speed racing. Jeff Gordon leads, Elliott Sadler is second, Tony Stewart third, Jimmy Johnson fourth, and Kevin Harvick is fifth. Cars pitting toward the back of the field. Scott Riggs was first off the pit lane. He's 27th in line. Dale Jr. is 29th. And Casey Kane is 41st after his spin.
Hey, Matt, any kind of damage to the 9 car that you know?
BP, the car itself looked good cosmetically. Now, Tommy Baldwin told Casey, looking at our video on his monitor, it looked like it was the perfect situation for air being taken off his car by another. The car is a little bit on the free side. They came back in, topped it off on lap 5, and made a track bar adjustment just to tighten him up just a tick.
All right, so Casey lost his track position, started in the 11th spot, and he's got a big hole to dig out of.
And Kurt Busch, the 97 car, driving on the inside of Jeremy Mayfield, 19.
It's for the 6th spot, and Busch's car was pretty good yesterday in practice.
There's all kinds of Superman lines there, but we'll save those for later.
Yeah, much later.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gave up a top 5 spot for a pit stop under that caution. Bill, what are they saying down there?
Junior said the car was just too tight to drive, Alan, just way too tight. He wanted to use the chance to get it right. He did run into the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. What he said on the radio was, I came around the corner, it was right there. It's like he just stopped. Tell him I'm really sorry, but I didn't mean to do it. The front of the 8, the grill is caved in just a little bit. Car Chief Tony Eury Jr. says not an issue.
The grill openings on these cars are not all that large, so we'll hope it's not an issue for him because it's pretty warm outside today.
I was talking to one of the crew chiefs this morning, and Marvin just bought a little opening he had on the grill. 3.5 inches is all the opening he had. The rest of it covered in tape.
And those openings are important in a race like this because the more tape they can get away putting on it, the better these cars are going to handle. The more downforce it gives on these cars, so the front of these cars are just as important as the fenders now.
This qualify as a gaggle here?
This would be, yeah, a gaggle or a wad. A wad of cars.
Kurt Busch had his hands full up in turn 3.
It looks like Kurt's car might be loose getting into the corner, but by the looks of it in turn 3 there that last lap, car got loose getting in, so that may be his problem.
Well, he's able to get by Harvick. Rusty Wallace going by right now. The 29 car seems to be struggling to keep up with these cars.
And it's Greg Biffle in the 16, another one of the cars with the different paint scheme here this weekend. And Harvick overtaken by Jamie McMurray and Greg Biffle. And here comes Matt Kenseth to his inside. So Harvick suddenly back to 11th. He was 6th last time by.
And he's using a lot of the racetrack. He's sliding up the racetrack as well. Not sure. Trying to look at that car to see if it's tight or loose. If he's loose because he's up on the racetrack because he doesn't want to turn the wheel. But, yeah, he's losing a lot of spots.
And Dale Jarrett working on Kevin Harvick there. That'll be for the 11th position, as I said a second ago.
Almost looks like he may be loose end, too, the way he's driving it up the racetrack. But
all right, so Jarrett with that pass. Talking about Kurt Busch just a minute ago, running in 6th position. Oh, maybe he doesn't finish the pass.
Crossover. He finished the pass, but Kevin came back on the inside. What about Kurt Busch?
Dave has an update on the 97 for us. Dave?
Yeah, Wally, you were talking about him being loose into the turn, and he is, but the really frustrating thing is that's the way the car has been all weekend long for Kurt. Loose into the turn, tied off the turn, and I asked him just before he was introduced to the fans today about that. He said it's pretty frustrating. They haven't gotten it fixed yet.
Yeah, Dave, that's pretty tough to drive here at Michigan. You don't want to be loose in as fast as you turn into these corners. We talked about how you need to arc going into the corner, and you can't do that with a loose race car because you don't want to turn that steering wheel, so you have to run that high line.
If you're new to NASCAR, a loose race car is one in which the back wheels don't grip as well as the front, so when you start to turn it left, it wants to spin out on you, and the centrifugal force of turning left in the corner
wow, look at that. He is loose.
You know, the best analogy is when they're loose, they back in the wall. When they push in, they hit the wall with the front end.
Or they just turn too good.
Talk about Kevin Harvick sliding back. He's settled in 12th spot. Matt, what are they saying?
He is battling a very tight race car, guys. In fact, he's had to change his line. He cannot get in the gas. You see him go to the high side. He cannot get in the gas when he needs to, and people are starting to make big headway on him from the center to up off the corner. A new spotter this week, Rick Corelli, who has driven Kevin's truck in the past, trying to help him change his line, find a better line to try to help that race car's handling to their first stop.
Well, when you're on the high line like that, when you're tight, what you're doing is you're trying to get way up to the top of the racetrack and get the car so it'll cut so you can get back on the throttle. A lot of times here at Michigan, this track gets tighter and tighter, and you'll hear that the cars are tight on the throttle. That's the biggest problem here as the race goes on.
Another group here slicing their way up through traffic. Mark Martin, Robbie Gordon. Gordon in the orange car, 31. Martin chasing him in the 6th. That would be the 13th and 14th place cars coming up behind Kevin Harvick and Dale Jarrett.
And Harvick's just hoping for a caution because he needs to get in that car to adjust.
And Ryan Newman got a tire mark. Well, I guess that's just one of the
superheroes
on the side. But Marty's coming down pit road.
Boy, it's already been a long day for the 12-bunch BP. He came on the radio 2 laps ago, said the water's at 240. The lap before that, 250. Now it's at 260, and there is some debris on the front of the grill. You guys talked about all the tape that these teams run for downforce. The front of the grill was clogged up with grass. Also, a piece of plastic was on the front of the grill for Ryan Newman. Here in June, same exact thing happened. They pitted on lap 23, went down a lap with an overheating engine, came back to win the race. They're not out of it yet.
And that's one of the problems with running too much tape on these cars, that if you do get some debris on the front, it just shoots the water temperature up to 260 or more.
And we talked about that this morning, and what causes so much paper? Well, 136,000 people, and a lot of them have been here for 3 or 4 days.
They've had a hot dog or two.
They generate a lot of paper.
Big lead for Jeff Gordon, almost 3 seconds over second place Elliott Sadler. Early on in the going here at Michigan International Speedway. Watching NASCAR on TNT. Our next L Cup Series on TNT on a near 80-degree afternoon. Sold-out grandstands and green flag racing with Jeff Gordon out in front. On board with Robbie Gordon in the singular car in 13th place. You know, I'm looking through the record books getting ready for this weekend, and there are a lot of notable numbers about this racetrack. Which one of these Michigan records do you think will be broken first? 4 straight wins. Bill Elliott did that. 65 lead changes. One of the closest margins of victory ever in NASCAR. Or fastest average speed, 173.9. That was a caution-free race. Dial us up, give us a vote, and we'll see what you think later on. Opinion?
Yes, I do. Okay. Well, I'm hoping. I don't know.
You know the drill. Save it for later.
Yeah. Okay.
All going Jeff Gordon's way so far.
Do I have an opinion?
Yeah, that was a silly question, wasn't it? You see nobody else even in the box with Jeff Gordon. 3 seconds back to Elliott Sadler, but a new third-place runner really on the move.
He really is. In the last few laps, Greg Biffle in the 16 car, who's currently running in third spot, has been the fastest car, and he started 24th. Bill, where did all this speed come from?
He's the Flash, Benny.
Oh, I see.
He's the Flash. Car's just a little loose, but it is really quick. He's, as according to the crew, he's hoo-hawing on the radio, going hoo-ha! He also said, those guys are in trouble now. Greg Biffle, fast car, a lot of confidence.
Look how fast he is coming up on Elliott Sadler, who's in second place. That car is hooked. And look at, notice how close the front valence of Biffle's car is to the racetrack, especially in 3 and 4. Practically dragging on the racetrack, which is a good thing. Making that car stick.
Last
Look
lap.
at that.
Last lap, he was almost a half second faster than Jeff Gordon. And watch this. Is he going to pass him in one corner?
I'll tell you what, that is quick.
Check our speeds at the line and see Greg Biffle's last lap compared to Jeff Gordon's.
There it is.
Faster.
And even past Elliott doing it.
Mark Martin making some progress up through the pack, joining the top 10. And the second fastest lap of the top 10 that time by. Greg Biffle's never won an XL Cup Series race. Best finish this season, 4th in the Pocono Racing. I never won. What am I thinking? Daytona. He hasn't won a race this year.
That's what I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I knew what I meant.
I'm sorry he caught that because we were ready to pounce.
He's got 3 top 10 finishes this year, and 2 of them came in the last 2 oval track races at Pocono and Indianapolis. So a program turning around and starting to move forward.
But if you remember back to California Speedway, he had the best car there. He had the fastest car there and broke the transmission on one of the restarts.
And you know what? Well, let's see. That was in turn 1. I was just looking at the RPMs there, Benny, and I only saw 9,000 RPMs going to turn 1, but they have a lot of headwinds. So let's see what it looks like down in turn 3, because that doesn't seem like a lot of RPMs compared to what we've seen.
No, that's we only saw 9,000 there, but the pace has slowed down. They're about a second slower than they were 3 or 4 miles per hour slower than when he started. With fresh tires, we might see 92, 9300 RPM.
Now, some of these guys were turning 95, 9600 RPM.
I know. That's what someone told me this morning. They were turning 9700.
Hey, Benny.
Yeah.
You know how I said that Biffle said they're in trouble now? To his crew?
Yeah.
The last time he said that, guess where that was?
California.
You got it, baby.
All right.
So Greg Biffle marching up through the field to second place, but he's trailing Jeff Gordon by 3 seconds after 50 miles of 400 here at Michigan. Gordon out in front, looking to continue the closing rate he's enjoyed over the last couple of weeks on Jimmy Johnson in the lead for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Championship. Live at Michigan, the caution flag has just come out. Hermie Sadler's car with a big puff of smoke down the back straightaway, and the yellow flag to check for oil and debris after 29 of 200 laps.
A big break for some of these guys that were struggling, trying to find the speed. Jeff Gordon running around the racetrack, about to put some of them a lap down.
So we'll see pit stops here for the leaders, especially the cars that did not pit under the earlier caution. Question is, if you're Dale Jr. and you're back in 30th and you pitted the first time, do you do it again? Or do you try and get some of your track position back?
Depends how good your car is. If they fix the car.
I'm saying he's coming in because he hadn't made any progress since the restart.
I would say he's coming in too.
Well, let's see. Here they come to the opening of pit road. So it's Jeff Gordon leading, Greg Biffle second, Elliott Sadler third, Kurt Busch fourth, and just as the yellow came out, Rusty Wallace took fifth away from Tony Stewart. And then it's Jeremy Mayfield, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, and Jimmy Johnson rounding out your top 10. And let's go to Matt.
The first car of the leaders to pit will be Jeremy Mayfield. They're going to make a chassis adjustment and also air pressure adjustment. He said the car was good, the track was slick, but it was just a little too tight for him. They're going to adjust on the 19, Dave. Kurt Busch running fourth, middle of your screen, comes in for a 4-tire change. His car was staying loose in, but it was getting tight up the corners. Track bar, air pressure adjustment for him. Phil.
Jeff Gordon, just a slight air pressure adjustment on the right front. Was a little loose early in the race. Wanted to know what Biffle's line was. Marty? Bill Tony Stewart in the 5th position, tight everywhere. He said a pound into the right rear, air pressure adjustment for him, and Wedge as well, trying to get the 20 car out fast, but a lot of guys were a little quicker.
2-4. Holding serve. Jeff Gordon's team off the pit lane first. And Matt Kenseth rejoining the chase. Dave?
His car was a little bit loose on the start of the run, expected to tighten up a little bit, didn't quite get there, so they made a track bar and air pressure adjustment to help Matt.
And right now, Jeff Gordon looks up in the mirror and sees a couple of those Rosketeers. Jeff, Kurt Busch, and Greg Biffle.
So Kenseth running in 7th. Jeff Gordon's team holds the lead through the pit stop. The boys on pit road getting it done.
Car, back down. Caution's out for that.
TNT Sports at Michigan International Speedway with the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Jeff Gordon leading onto the second caution of today's race. Tony Stewart not only won the race at Watkins Glen last Sunday, his team won the McDonald's Drive-Thru Pit Crew Championship fueled by Powerade. That would be the driver chiming into the background. They got Tony off pit road quicker than anybody else on a participating team all day and picked up the prize of the $20,000 for the day. Very close for the season-long $200,000 top prize among those teams. Tony is in 5th, carrying some Olympians on his car in pursuit of racing gold today here in Michigan. Live from Michigan International Speedway and half a lap from the restart. NASCAR on TNT with the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. Jeff Gordon is your race leader. Jimmy Johnson is not leading. In fact, he's lost a pretty good bit of ground since the initial start of the race. He's back in 10th. Marty?
At the beginning of the run, Alan, Jimmy Johnson was pretty happy with his race car, but the further he went, the less happy he became.
Just can't carry any speed to the center. If I do, I'm all jacked up. Loose everywhere. It's just getting worse and worse. Not bad off the wall, but if I get into the center with too much, that's where I start to get in trouble.
And on the pit stop, 3 rounds down on the track bar, 2 rounds of wedge trying to tighten up Jimmy Johnson. And for every lap he completes, $48 to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund for those affected by Hurricane Charlie. So we hope he completes a lot of laps today.
And what he was referring to, not off the wall, was his car wasn't loose as he turned down into the corner, but it was real loose in the center.
Okay, green flag is out. I'll get that out.
Easy for you to say.
I was all excited about Ryan Newman getting up there and trying to race these guys, get his lap back.
Yeah, lucky dog at the last caution was Morgan Shepherd, who had just been lapped by leader Jeff Gordon. So Ryan's still a lap down. After the unscheduled pit stop, he is now the first car 1 lap down. He's back in 15th place. Tony Stewart, Elliott Sadler, 4th place.
That's great. Ryan Newman is up high, Elliott Sadler in the middle, and Tony Stewart on the bottom.
Comes Newman.
And second place changes hands. Oh, no, it doesn't.
No. Ryan's just passing cars.
That's Ryan and not Kurt Busch.
Going by Biffle or trying to get by him.
See Stewart working that way down at the bottom line.
Talked about Tony carrying Olympians on his car. Home Depot, one of the Olympic sponsors, and Tony's got a few American athletes that are over in Athens featured who are employees of Home Depot.
I'll tell you what, those athletes are doing fantastic over in Greece.
Stewart right now hanging in there, 5th place. I'll check that 4th place, having just disposed of Elliott Sadler. And next up will be Greg Biffle in his sights. Talked with Tony before the race. He said he thought his car was better on the longer haul, but in this little short run since the restart, it's looking pretty good.
Yes, it is.
A lot of guys are running the middle or a little bit higher. And typical of Tony Stewart, he tries to get that car to work down on the bottom, like where he's at right now. He likes that bottom line. Marty?
Yeah, we're talking about that Olympic paint scheme, Wally. Home Depot has a little program. They hire Olympic athletes. They've already won 3 golds in Athens. That's pretty cool. In kayaking and also swimming, those athletes have won 3 gold medals so far in this game. Tony Stewart, as you mentioned, Wally, likes to run that low line, and his car was loose in. When it's loose in, he can't run the low line like he liked. That's why they were trying to tighten up that car.
Looked like they made some pretty major adjustments on that car during the pit stop. And the last time, when they threw the green flag to start the race, Tony Stewart came forward and looked like he was going to challenge for the lead, but in 5 or 6 laps, he started drifting back. Same deal. He's up there on the green flag trying to get by Greg Biffle, and now looks like Biffle was able to drive away from Tony Stewart.
Just behind them, change for position. You see Rusty Wallace now in front of Elliott Sadler, so Rusty moving forward to the number 5 spot. 5-time Michigan winner Rusty Wallace started 18th today.
Bill? Out of that 2-car of Rusty Wallace, basically the problem was he needed to load up the left front a little bit more, so they did that with an air pressure adjustment and a wedge adjustment. So Wally, as he's chasing down those leaders, that's something he's got to work on.
Speaking of leaders, we want to have a new one. This time they go by the start-finish line. I think that Kurt Busch will get credit for leading this lap.
Right you are. Superman. He's feeling like it, the way that race car's driving. But what we love about this racetrack.
Here comes Jeff Gordon back on the outside. Now, if the start-finish line were back there, I think Jeff Gordon might have led a lap, but it wasn't. It's up here.
I talked with Kurt's crew chief, Jimmy Fennig, this morning as he slides by and takes the lead. One of those drivers in the mix, being on the bubble in the race to the chase. Kurt, 7th in the championship, only 122 points ahead of 11th. 5 bonus points there for leading a lap. Jimmy very concerned about not having a mechanical problem today. Yeah, you get the most points by winning the race, but you really get hurt if you fall out.
Yeah, all those that are in the top 10, they're still, like you said, they're nervous. They're looking over their shoulder because one bad race, and it could put them actually out. So, sure they're nervous.
And Jeff Gordon about to lose the 2nd spot to another Roush-Keteer, Greg Biffle.
Biffle to 2nd.
As Biffle ran an entirely different line that time because he drove the car to turn 3 so hard to get by Jeff Gordon, he couldn't make it turn.
Jeff Gordon back to 3rd after dominating the opening stages of this race. Gordon led the first 30 laps, gave it up for 1 lap on a pit stop, and Terry Labonte stayed out to lead a lap. And then Gordon out in front again from lap 32 to 38 before Kurt Busch went by.
Jeff Phil Weber, that thing looks loose to me. I don't know, Bill. I don't know what they did on that last pit stop. The 24 looks a little bit loose right now.
Air pressure adjustments goes into the turn, can't turn the car at all.
That would be tight.
Yeah.
Gordon hanging on to 3rd spot for now as Rusty Wallace has got about a 2nd and 8/10 before he can close up and challenge Jeff for that spot. And for the lead, Greg Biffle. He couldn't take it away from Jeff Gordon earlier. Can he take it away from his teammate?
And, you know, do you think he'll race his teammate as hard as he would Jeff Gordon? Knowing Greg Biffle, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not going to take too much.
Ah, he goes.
Just like that.
And a new leader, Greg Biffle, out in front here at Michigan. Shaping up to be a pretty good day for the Roush team. They've got the top 2 spots now. Mark Martin is running 5th, just having taken that spot from Tony Stewart. And Matt Kenseth was in the top 10 earlier.
17th.
He has fallen back a little bit. There's Matt. It's up to 17, Dave.
Yeah, he restarted 7th place, Alan, and they have gone backwards. The car is very, very loose for Matt. And he described it to his team on the radio as extremely loose. In fact, I think we caught some of that audio, and here it is.
Feels like it's got a freaking 6,000-pound spring in the rear. It just burns the rear up. Got a flat or something around me. It's so loose, I got a flat or something. Just get ready. I can't even hang on to it. Just about wrecked there.
Real loose, Wally. Ever been that frustrated?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when you're, like I said, when you're loose here, it's magnified because you're going so fast. Here comes Rusty Wallace.
That'll be for 3rd place.
Yeah. Gordon is struggling.
Caution. For debris in turn 4. And So yellow flag number, what is this, number 3 in the race.
All those guys are screaming about race cars, Benny. We're going to see a lot of cars coming in pit lane.
Well, there it is.
Piece of debris, and they're running over it. There it
Somebody
goes.
just hit it.
Someone hit it with what looked like a left side tire.
Yeah. So third caution flag out here at Michigan with Greg Biffle out in front. We're at lap 45, the 90-mile mark. Just shy of the 1/4 point in the pace car. Going to lead the field once again.
All right, I don't. Well, 24's got to come in. If they're struggling, and they are tight, they're only going to get tighter.
Been 15 laps since the last pit stop. Green flag racing started at lap 34, so it's been 11 laps.
I don't know. Some guys will probably stay out.
Well, I'm sure the guys that are good will. The guys that are struggling.
And by the way, as he did in June, guess who's the lucky dog?
Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman, back on the lead lap.
The guy that doesn't like the lucky dog more. The lucky dog rule, that guy?
Just give it back, Ryan. Just don't take it.
So he'll be coming around past the pace car in a minute and rejoining the lead lap. And try to work his way back up through the field. See if he can make it 3 straight. Michigan wins.
As a matter of fact, at Pocono, I think he was 2 laps down, got 2 lucky dogs, and was able to finish 10th or 12th or something. Talking about Ryan Newman.
Who's in? Leader's in.
Coming in. All of them coming in. Everyone's coming in. Wow, Matt, coming to you, boy.
Jeremy Mayfield looking for some more help on his race car. The chassis adjustment on the last stop didn't help. They're going to back out 1 round of the 2 they put in last time. Today,
leader Kurt Busch was a little bit tight. Actually, second place Kurt Busch. Let's head up a turn 4. 2 tire stop for him. Wedge adjustment to help him off 4. Weber.
Biffle in the 16 was coming for 4. They gave him 2, an extra round of track bar adjustment. Marty. Car was loose. Actually, it was tight. What they're going to do this time, it is still tight for Tony. Tight in 1 and 2. Good in 4, though. They make track bar adjustment trying to loosen him up. Dave?
Matt Kenseth now with a big wedge adjustment to try to help him. That's a chassis adjustment. They took it to a place where it was in practice yesterday that they were a lot more pleased with. They're hoping that will correct their problem here today. Alan?
I saw Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, and Robbie Gordon get right side tires only. Want to check on Joe Nemechek because he got off the pit lane pretty quickly. Under caution here at Michigan International Speedway. Coming up on the 1/4 mark of today's race, you're watching NASCAR on TNT.
Michigan on TNT is brought to you by Ford, the official truck of NASCAR. By new M3 Power from Gillette, the new power behind the Gillette Young Guns. By Levitra, ask your doctor today. Levitra, when it counts. And by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best.
Beautiful day here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. NASCAR fans watching Scott Wimmer as the new leader of today's race. We'll tell you why in a minute. First, our NASCAR Busch Series update. Kyle Busch with his 5th win of the season yesterday. Dominated. Led 87 of the 125 laps here. Gaining 20 points on Martin Truex Jr. in their fight for the championship. NASCAR Busch Series at Bristol. Friday night, you'll see it on TNT. No race this weekend for the Craftsman Truck Series. They race at Bristol on Wednesday night. Speed Channel has that one for you. It's 84 points. Bobby Hamilton to Dennis Setzer entering their race at Bristol. And we are getting ready to go back to full speed racing, and a lot of pit strategy played out under this caution flag. Scott Wimmer's the new leader, did not pit under the yellow.
That's the first of the strategies, and then Greg Biffle and Kurt Busch took 2 tires,
and Mark Martin and Jamie McMurray and Robbie Gordon and Joe Nemechek and Brendan Gaughan and Michael Waltrip.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. was one of the last cars off of pit road, so evidently some kind of pretty serious problem with the Bud car.
They continue to work on it.
He's back in 33rd right now.
So here we go. Wimmer playing a little strategy, his team, to get a little upfront time. Let's see how... Not a matter of if they're going to hold the lead, I don't think, because Greg Biffle has had a faster car, but
yeah, I don't think he'll have
back they fall before the next caution and maybe pit stops.
They'll have the lead for a lap, the way Biffle's been running.
Well, here goes Biffle trying to take that lead off turn 2.
Tell you what, Mark Martin has been fast. He had moved up into 5th place before the yellow flag. And now he's going to follow Greg Biffle around Scott Rimmer and maybe go by Biffle for the race lead.
And Kurt Busch is going to go 3 wide to try to take over at 4th or 3rd or whatever spot that was. I guess that's 3rd he's trying to take over.
It depends on what moment. Pete.
Yeah, exactly. Mark's, just barely has it pulled off.
And Mark Martin, credited with leading the last lap. He gets those 5 points. 5 very valuable points to him as he tries to get in that top 10 in NASCAR Nextel Cup points. Bill Weber.
Mark Martin had asked to lead a lap for those 5 bonus points. Caution on the speedway.
Got a car way up high off the pace in turn 4. Report is probably dropped some fluid. I think that's Kyle Petty.
Looks like it, yep.
Yes, it is.
Kyle's team had changed an engine.
Left front down.
It's awfully low. I don't know if he's got a left front tire flat or not.
Sure looks like it.
There is the car that dropped the liquid, apparently, Derek Cope. So perhaps he had oil pan failure, with the oil pan failing to hold the contents of the bottom side of the engine, and Kyle Petty ran over something to cause his problem.
That could be.
That oil pan is just a very thin piece of sheet metal. When those engine pieces come down and hit it, normally they knock a hole in it.
So we're under yellow once again at the 100-mile mark. Today, this will be the 4th caution flag already of today's race. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. For the 71st time, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series races at the Michigan International Speedway, and the race under caution with Greg Biffle as the leader. Our Wendy's race menu next weekend, it's the night race at Bristol. Fantastic. Next Saturday night.
What else can you say? It's the night race at Bristol.
And the night race at California on the Sunday night of Labor Day weekend in prime time. Then the night race at Richmond to settle the race to the chase. And then the final 10-event stretch begins at New Hampshire. All that action upcoming on TNT and NBC. We'll be back for the restart in a minute.
Wants that lead pretty bad.
He does. He thinks he has a car worthy of being in front.
Mark is just hugging that bottom line in 1 and 2.
The 16 so far all day. Greg Biffle's been right in the center, and he's just been fast through the center.
All right, here goes Mark trying to take that lead.
He can get up beside him. He may even get in front of him here. See how that middle line or high line got pulled off this time.
We've seen a lot of Hendrick Motorsports at the front of races here lately, but this is a Jack Roush-looking day so far. 1, 2, and 3. Biffle, Martin, and Kurt Busch.
So whose toolbox does he go sit on? Talking about Jack Roush. Does he choose the leader?
Mark Martin, a 4-time Michigan winner, putting himself out in front, finally completing the pass on his teammate Greg Biffle. Bill?
And I can tell you that Jack Roush right now sitting on the pit box in Greg Biffle's pit. Biffle having a good run, giving up that lead to Mark, who needed the 5 bonus points. But here was the radio communication between 16 driver and 16 crew chief.
You got a really good car. You're 3 to 4 tenths better than the other guys. I don't know how hard you're driving it. Count on me, brother. You know how I'm driving it. 10-4, that's what worries me.
And that's what worries the other drivers, too. Biffle with a lot of talent, Benny. We saw him a long time ago. Caution out, debris near the start-finish line.
Yeah, near the flag stand. So yellow flag again.
Brother. Man, oh, man.
This would be number 5 already in this race.
We are struggling. Oh, but hey, folks, you've got to throw the caution flag when there's a piece of metal like that laying on the racetrack.
Oh, yeah. Not that any of them haven't been worthy.
Exactly.
It's just, you know, we just keep having these things.
Having trouble getting this thing going.
Yep. So caution flag is out. Let's see. Who's going to pit this time? Probably not many. Since they were just a little bit ago and haven't done very much green flag racing. Let's take care of some business. We'll come back when we get ready to go back to green flag racing. Michigan International Speedway, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series on TNT, running under caution, the third caution in the span of 12 laps. A little bit of trouble getting the momentum going here in this part of the race. Let's check our Singular Wireless Race Talk poll results. Which of these Michigan records do you think will be broken first? Most of you think another caution-free race.
That's what I was going to pick.
But guess what?
It ain't going to happen today.
Yeah. I don't know the way things have been going for Ryan Newman around here. That 4 straight wins.
I was hoping for C.
Yeah.
Less than a second win margin.
Another lap or so before we go back racing. We've been talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. What's been going on with him, Bill? He's back in 24th place.
Yeah, just way, way, way too tight. So they went ahead and tried to loosen him up as much as they could. They told me on their last pit stop they changed everything except the paint scheme, including hooking up the rear sway bar. So he is fighting a car that is just way too tight, trying to make it better.
Without him of Casey Kane, Tommy Baldwin continues to dial in that 9 car. The work in the last stop, trying to repair that loose on air. But really, for Casey's style, really hurts him on this type of racetrack. They pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear and an air pressure adjustment. It is slowly getting there, but he needs some long green flag runs, guys, to really showcase what that car can do. He's made it up to 21st from 41st.
I think everybody wants to get racing here.
Yeah,
it's frustrating for all the drivers. They want to get some laps going.
It's frustrating for the fans. But we'll try it again. Green flag about to come out. I remember Casey Kane, if you weren't with us earlier, was involved in a spin back at lap number 4 off of turn number 2 when he was running in the top 10. And that's how he got as far back as 41st. Mark Martin leads. Greg Biffle second. Kurt Busch third. Jamie McMurray fourth. Brendan Gaughan fifth. Then Rusty Wallace, Robbie Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart. Pit stops a couple of cautions ago now. A lot of these guys up front took only 2 tires. The guys who've been leading earlier got 4 tires, and they're a little bit farther back.
Timmy McMurray kind of snuck up there.
2 tires on his stop earlier.
There we go.
Johnson.
3 wide.
Jeff Gordon, Robbie Gordon.
Pretty good stop. Jeff Gordon makes the pass on the 2 cars.
And for second place, here's Kurt Busch working on his Roush teammate, Greg Biffle. And it looks like he's got it. Talking about Jamie McMurray there, Wally. He's lurking right back there in that lead group now.
Yeah, it looks like also Biffle, maybe those 2 tires aren't gripping as well, obviously, as that 4 tires. He's sliding up the racetrack a little bit more, BP.
Yeah, it looks like that was not exactly what they needed with those 2 tires. He's going to try the bottom of the racetrack and see if he can get the grip that he's accustomed to so far today. It's not a bad corner.
Brendan Gaughan running right behind the lead group in 5th place. Also 2 tires on his stop in the 77. Then Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon did complete the pass on Robbie Gordon. That puts him up to the number 7 spot. And here comes Jimmy Johnson.
Stewart.
That's Stewart working on Robbie Gordon for 9th.
And Nemechek behind these cars. Jarrett DJ on the move in that Ups car.
Yeah, Jarrett can run that bottom line. I always see these race cars being very strong here. If they can get their car working on the bottom, they usually have the motor to make the pass.
4-time Michigan winner Dale Jarrett visited with Bill on the wagon before the race, talked about his position in this race to the chase. DJ coming into this weekend, 14th in the standings, but 87 points behind 10th place at a track where he has done very, very well.
And see, he almost did exactly what I was saying. Down on the bottom.
Oh, 3rd spot, Biffle. 16, McMurray, and 42. The star on the hood is McMurray. That was a close battle for third spot.
And farther back, you see Dale Jarrett completing the pass on Robbie Gordon. So that puts DJ up to 10th spot. Now, creeping into this group from behind is Elliott Sadler in the 38 car. Now, Elliott started this race up in 6th place, fell back a little bit, Bill. Now he's trying to work his way back up from 14th.
Boy, you're not kidding. It's been an adventure for Elliott Sadler. Really couldn't find the handle on his race car, and he tried to explain it to his crew chief, Todd Parrott.
Man, I don't know what's the... I mean, this car's never felt like this before. Just feel like the front tilt jack stand. Can't get it to react to anything. I can't get it to react to my brake pedal or gas pedal or anything.
It's reacting now. Basically, the car was tight. Made an air pressure adjustment. Pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear. Went down 3 rounds on the right rear and then made a track bar adjustment. It was tight, but it's better now.
Yeah, what he was explaining there is that the front end felt too stiff, that it wasn't getting into the racetrack.
So Elliott Sadler maintaining right now in 14th and 15th positions. Well, I say maintaining. Here comes Scott Riggs by him.
Well, he's trying to get by and drove in that turn 3 very hard. Does a slide job on Elliott. Takes over the spot.
Riggs having a nice run. Started in 31st place in that 10 car.
I told Scott Riggs this week that, oh, Rusty Wallace goes by Biffle. Here comes the deuce. He's gotten by McMurray, and now by Biffle goes into 3rd. What's up with Biffle, Bill?
The flash is getting a little loose there, BP. The handle's starting to go away. The car's a little loose. He also has a radio problem. For a while, he couldn't talk to his crew. He switched to his backup radio. He uses radio number 1 to listen to them, radio number 2 to talk to them. When he's talking to them now, he's telling them the car is getting loose.
Okay.
That can be confusing. Radio number 1, radio number 2. Yeah. So Biffle trying to fend off Jamie McMurray now for 4th place, as Wallace has gotten by and gotten gone. And now Biffle going to wave McMurray on by and having a mess with him.
Yeah, well, you don't want somebody chasing you if you're loose.
When you're loose, you do not want that car behind you because it just magnifies the problem. The wisest thing to do is move over, let him go by, and try to find some clean racetrack to run on.
So that puts Greg Biffle back to 5th. Jeff Gordon chasing him in 6th. Mark Martin out in front. The 22nd race here at Michigan that Mark Martin has spent time in the lead. You're watching? All right, we'll be back. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back live at Michigan. We are under caution again. That would be Carl Long, who has just spun off of turn number 2. No other car involved.
And we can see both left side tires flat from aforementioned spin.
And this would be yellow flag number 6. Not even to halfway. Just 140 miles in.
What was the yellow flag record? You have that up there? We didn't have that up there, did we?
Look. No, I've got it here. Check it out. What was it you said before, VP? A loose race car is one that's going to back into the wall?
Yeah, well, and Carl did a pretty good job. He got the thing sideways to just nail the gas and tried to spin it away from the wall and was able to do that.
Carl, 36-year-old, Roxborough, North Carolina. His 6th start to this season. And he's going to need 4 fresh tires.
He's got flat tires everywhere.
Everywhere he looks, he's got flats. Carl, that's all 4.
But he's got all his fenders intact, and that's a good thing.
He needs some help on the jack.
So the halting center section of the race continues, and now we'll see if any of the front runners come to pit road. They stopped at 46. We're at 71 now.
Let me see. Will anybody pit? I believe they will. And guess what? I believe they're going to put 4 tires on this time.
Yep.
Because
those 2 tires didn't work so good for many of them.
Didn't work too well. Mark Martin did fairly well with his 2, but...
And he got the track position.
Yeah.
So they accomplished that, but...
Could be put 4 on. Well, I don't know. 37 cars on the lead lap. And the number of laps they've run under green being so few, this could be interesting. I think we'll see a lot of them pit, but I think we'll see a good chunk toward the back of the,
again.
the back of the field stay out.
Or stay out or take 2.
I
right. We'll see some people stay out here.
Okay. We're going to find out.
Okay, here they come, opening the pit road. And the ever-present commitment line crossed by our leader, Mark Martin.
There's a lot of commitment right there.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
The 97 of Kurt Busch will give up that second position right now. They talked about making no chassis adjustments. They decided to change 4 tires, give Kurt a water because the driver needed an adjustment, and also make a slight track bar adjustment to help a little bit of a loose condition. Bill?
Mark Martin on pit road, just a little bit loose. 4 tires, small air pressure adjustment, and a small chassis adjustment for the Batmobile. Marty Weber, championship leader Jimmy Johnson, finally got it secure into the corner the way he would like. Car a little too tight still, though. 1 round of wedge into the right rear, comes in running 7th. Got the windshield tear off he wanted. Matt?
And service already complete on Jeremy Mayfield's Dodge, making big headway from 16th to 12th in that last run. An air pressure adjustment in the front tires, trying to help the car. It was a little bit tight, trying to work that out.
Well, we might have some 2-tire changes on that stop, but at least all the cars on the lead lap did come down pit road at least to get fuel and some tire.
Almost all. Not quite. There's one that hasn't pitted, and there's one that got out light years ahead of everybody else. We'll reset it for you. We return to Michigan.
Board for my new team with my new car, the AOL team, and I just missed it.
So perhaps he was looking for a number 99?
Yeah, which is about 5 or 6 spots in front of him.
Which was crowded when he got there.
Yeah.
Because that's not his car anymore.
Car in there.
Jimmy Spencer did not pit. He is the new leader of the race. Jeff Burton pitted but didn't pit. He is second.
All right, green, 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 green.
And here we go. Right side tires only for Scott Wimmer. Puts him up to 6th place. And we're double checking on Scott Riggs. That's gotten him up to 3rd. Kurt Busch rim riding. Wow.
Scott Riggs trying to take over that 2nd spot. Here comes Rusty Wallace. And Kurt Busch on the outside. Man.
Watch out, Ken.
You've been attacked from all sides.
Don't do it, Kurt. Oh, that was close. 3 wide. For the bottom.
Wow, look at that move.
Oh! Riggs down low, Spencer up high, Burton in the middle somewhere.
Riggs is going to take the lead.
He's going for it. Scott Riggs, that 10 car has a lead.
All right, Scott. Oh, that's a confidence builder right there.
Sure is.
Dave, what are they saying about the 10 car, Scott Riggs?
The best thing they're saying, Wally, is nothing. Scott didn't want any changes on the car to the chassis. So they changed 2 right side tires, as Alan already mentioned, but no chassis adjustments to that car. It's pretty good.
Must be pretty happy with it then.
Appreciate the confirmation on the strategy, Dave. So Scott Riggs out in front of this race.
And I started to say earlier, I talked to Scott Riggs Friday at the racetrack, and I told him that I was so impressed with his run last week at Watkins Glen. We saw him on Saturday and actually laughed at him because he was struggling so badly. But on Sunday, he hung in there and had a great run and ran well at Watkins Glen.
Riggs has only 1 top 10 finish so far in his rookie season, but second time around these tracks, he feels like the results are going to start to show. Little track position strategy play, and he's leading this race here at Michigan. Rusty Wallace, one of the faster cars before the pit stop, has lost a few spots since this restart.
He is really struggling. He was, what, about 4th on the restart, and right now is back about 10.
Tony Stewart easing up in front of Rusty. Now Rusty going to try and get around Jimmy Spencer, who, remember, did not pit under that last yellow when everybody else on the lead lap did.
Yeah, Jimmy had fun there for a while, but now he's wishing he had pitted.
Well, Jarrett coming through. And Scott Wimmer in the 22 for Bill Davis, trying to come through as well. That puts Jarrett to 11. Spencer and Wimmer racing for 12. Up front, Greg Biffle in 16. Jeff Gordon in 24.
20 car is hooked up on the bottom of that racetrack.
Mr. Stewart trying to make it 2 wins in a row.
almost trying to help.
Rusty doesn't seem he can get in a corner. It almost looks like he gets in the corner deep, and then the car pushes up the racetrack.
Battle for second spot is Mark Martin. That's he on the right side. The number 6 car, Kurt Busch, 97 on the outside, and Jimmy McMurray, the best seat in the house, that dark car behind them.
Wow, look at Mark fight that one.
And what helped him there was when Busch went way up the racetrack.
Gave him some room.
Yep, gave him a lot of room.
McMurray on the way through in the 42. And that is going to be for second and third. So Mark Martin to second, McMurray to third, Kurt Busch back to fourth, and Jimmy Johnson now beginning to show his way toward the front, sliding up into the 5th position.
Looks like the 48 car was loose, right?
Yeah, they're very loose, and it looks like
they've got to tighten up some.
Tighten up, and Busch's car looks like it went too tight.
All right, here's Mark. He's riding up on the back bumper of Scott Riggs.
And based on what we've seen earlier today, Bill, Mark should be able to get through to the lead.
Boy, you're no kidding. We're on lap 80 right now. On lap 11, Mark said, we can wear them out today. On lap 20, he said, we can win today. But a few laps ago, while he was talking about a carburetor problem, when he turns the car to the right, which obviously you don't do a lot except when you're warming up your tires, or sometimes to pass, it feels like the car's going to stall out. So they might have a carburetor issue later today. But right now, he is going to the front again.
He is. It sounds like the carburetor's starving for fuel some reason, but boy, it's not starving for fuel now.
So second time today, Mark Martin has led this race. Jamie McMurray going to try and follow him through around Scott Riggs for second.
Riggs isn't going to give it up.
He's not giving it up. And I tell you, this 42 car is no slouch. Man, Bill, 42 is fast.
And you got to give credit to the crew and the driver, Benny. They were awful at the start of the race. In fact, Jamie said, man, I got to figure out what to do. He looked for different lines. They worked on the car. Now it's still a little bit tight. 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment on their last stop. But they really started the race in terrible shape. And as a team, they have brought it back to the front.
And headlines here, Bill. Jimmy Johnson going to the garage. Marty, what's happened?
Trouble again. They finished 36th and 40th in the last 2 races. Jimmy came on the radio, said, I think we dropped the cylinder. Then he said, now I have no oil pressure. Now it's gone. Nothing will turn over. It's done.
Third straight week.
Here comes McMurray on the outside. Got a good run.
And takes that lead easily.
So Jamie McMurray out in front will become the 9th different driver to lead this race. And all of a sudden, we're looking at having a new leader in the championship at the end of the day, because there's Jeff Gordon running in 5th.
And, you know, Bill Weber talks about in the pre-race show, the countdown to green, that 400 points now might come into play. Because all of a sudden, the points leader, once again, lets maybe somebody else come in and qualify for the chase for the next Nextel Cup.
Gordon and Greg Biffle locked up there for 5th and 6th place. Jeff Gordon started this race on the outside of the front row, led 2 times for 37 laps. He's led the most laps so far today. Gordon, a 2-time Michigan winner, who has climbed from 232 points behind Jimmy Johnson to 40 down over the last 2 weeks. And now Johnson to the garage for a 3rd straight Sunday.
Jeff Gordon finishes this race today, he will easily take over the points lead as we see Kurt Busch, 97, trying to get by the 10. Tell you what, Riggs is good today, really good.
Car looks stout.
Yep, and that's just on 2 tires on that last pit stop. Good job by the 10 team. Scott running 3rd, Kurt Busch 4th. Mark Martin beginning to show a little desire to get that lead back for McMurray. Looking low. And with a run. Okay, go ahead.
Yep, definitely.
And farther back, Biffle going to take 5th away from Jeff Gordon. And you see the gap from 1st back through 6th. So 34 cars on the lead lap at this point. Jimmy Johnson in the garage puts him there alongside Derek Pope, Bernie Sadler, and Todd Bodine, who've all dropped out with various engine-related gremlins in the opening laps of the race. And Dave, this is an interview Jimmy Johnson has not wanted to do for a third straight week.
Horrible thing Jimmy's got to do right now, but Jimmy, what did it sound like or feel like this week?
I'm just dumbfounded right now. Going down the back stretch, and it acted like it was running out of gas. And, you know, I looked down at fuel pressure was fine, and then I could smell oil and locked up. So I must have broke a valve or dropped the cylinder, and then I instantly dropped in and locked the thing up. So I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just bad momentum on our side right now. We'll get it back, though.
Well, again, keeping things in perspective, there's still the chase for the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, big picture is one thing, but, you know, 2, 3, 4 weeks of things not going as you're used to going, you know, it just it kind of messes with things, and that's turning over. That's a good sign. It you know, it just messes with things, but we'll get it back. This seems way too good, and well, just a freak deal, but we just can't have any more of those.
All right, Alan, seeking a silver lining here,
I guess. Nope. So Johnson back in the garage area.
Talked about earlier about, you know, maybe some of these guys going for it. Turn it more RPM.
So the championship standings as they are in the race, with Jeff Gordon running now 6th. There you go. So much for your 232-point lead 2 weeks ago.
He's 74 down now.
And a little farther back, let's continue to check how things look in the top 10. So far, the top 10 drivers unchanged as far as who they are.
But Sadler's now only 359 back.
Look at Mark Martin. Would move up 2 spots, be just 21 points behind Jeremy Mayfield as they run.
And with 3 races to go after this one. Man.
Mark Martin, Michigan wins in August of 90, 93, 97, and June of 98. Had 1 point where he finished in the top 10, 20 of 21 Michigan races. He's out in front here today as we work up to halfway. We're under caution. Scott Wimmer has just spun.
It seems like every time we go to break, somebody spins, something happens, piece of debris. This time Scott Wimmer spins off turn 2, and we saw the left front tire was flat.
It got spun.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a look.
Conversation on the team's radio seems to indicate that he thinks he got some help.
Normally when you get run over, that's somebody hitting you.
So Wimmer getting his tires changed and rejoining, still on the lead lap. Now let's check it out.
Well, we see a bunch of smoke, and in the middle of that smoke is the 22 going around and around.
Can't tell you anything there. It's pretty clean down the back.
And here come the leaders to pit road. Stops will be just shy of halfway. Dave, lead us off.
Kurt Busch again giving up a top 5 position to pit, but he needs that fresh rubber. They talked about taking 2. A little bit of wear in the left front caused him to say no. We'll take 4. A chassis adjustment getting a little bit tight in 3 and 4. Bill?
Mark Martin, the leader in your 6 car. Just a slight chassis adjustment with wedge because he's just a tick loose, usually in traffic. 4 tires and fuel to Marty. Tony Stewart, a little bit tight. He said that's the best it's been. In the beginning of the run, they put a rubber in the right rear trying to loosen that car up for Tony Stewart, and a tire gets away from the 20 car. That'll cost him. And it almost hits Jeff Gordon as he leaves pit road, Matt.
And the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield going with a 2-tire strategy, wanted to try it at this part of the race and see how the race car reacts with the 2 tires. Good stop by both the 9 and 19 teams.
It looked to me like Mayfield's team the only one to take 2 tires on their stop. So we'll follow up on the strategies in a moment, but Jeremy Mayfield's crew with some good work. And we're under caution once again in the GFS Marketplace 400. Green flag.
Green flag.
At Michigan. And Brendan Gaughan is the race leader. First 3 in line, just right side tires. Brendan Gaughan, Jeremy Mayfield, and Elliott Sadler. Then Greg Biffle with 4 tires comes off pit road in 4th place.
And here goes Jeremy trying to take over that lead from Brendan, but Brendan gets a great run on the outside, and it looks like Jeremy may lose second.
Yes, he will.
Elliott Sadler to the number 2 spot. And for the race lead, side by side. Sadler going to try and take the top spot. And he's got it as they sail off to turn one. Bill, nice run for the 38.
Very good. In his 200th Nextel Cup Series start, Allen, and on that last pit stop, just 2 tires. He was a little tight in the center, but they took 2, made a track bar adjustment, and sent the M&M's machine to the front.
So Sadler now the 11th different driver to lead this race. Now Brendan Gaughan trying to fend off Jeremy Mayfield for second. Marty, strategy, get the 77 up there.
And they've done it twice now today, Alan. Shane Wilson, the crew chief, said even if we fall to 13th, doesn't really matter because we would have gained by staying out, taking those 2 tires. And it acted pretty well in the 2 tires. Brendan said, why not? Let's do it. Hanging in there in second right now.
Way up the racetrack that time. Man, Brendan Gaughan.
Here comes Mark Martin trying to get by Greg Biffle. They're side by side off 2.
Lane change.
Well, he was. As Biffle goes by the 19 on the outside.
Runs in very quickly on the back of Brendan Gaughan. Mark Martin tried to charge back up through, Bill.
Yeah, and they took 4 tires. Mark and Pat Trice and his crew chief actually both thought about taking 2, but Mark said the car is so good, we don't want to screw it up. They took 4, working out so far.
Yep. Right on the back bumper of Brendan Gaughan down the straightaway.
You see Mark turn that baby left.
That car's handling very well. If you can do that. Whoa! Hang on there, buddy.
Kurt Busch.
Look out.
Superman found his kryptonite.
Stop, don't hit that wall. And it didn't. Begging helps, just like playing golf.
Kurt Busch running 6.
No, we didn't hit anything. The left front beam was probably got hit by a storm drain. But I got 4 flat tires, and I got to come in now.
That's the right call. Very true.
At this time, I want to run the fight in that thing, too. 1 round.
Jimmy Finning said, let's tighten him up a little bit.
So Kurt Busch brings out caution number 8 of this race. Are we ready to hear what the record for most cautions in a Michigan race is?
11.
No.
Let's get 4 tires, guys. 4 tires here.
Record for most yellow flags in a Michigan race would be 9.
We're well on our way there.
We're not even halfway yet. We've got 8.
We shattered that record.
All right, here's what happened to Kurt Busch to bring out yellow flag number 8.
He's on the inside trying to get by Jeremy, and man, that baby is loose, isn't it?
Talked about it earlier. When you get 2 cars that close to each other through the corner, the car on the bottom is going to lose the air on the spoiler.
Oh, and he just kept it off that inside wall. There's a tire barrier there to protect that inside wall over by where the infield crossover gate is. Watch how close he's going to come to this.
He's on the gas trying to keep the thing from backing in the wall. Almost ran it. Oh, yeah. He almost ran the thing in the inside wall.
And that's why it's nice to have pavement instead of grass.
Yeah.
If there was grass down there, they would have had a wrecked race car.
Kurt's been in and gone, Dave.
Yep, they took out the 4 tires, and unlike what we saw a couple races ago in Indianapolis, by not driving around another lap and trying to keep any sort of track position, the tire didn't come apart. He didn't start any fires. Smart move to come right in.
So Kurt Busch, one of the drivers in the race to the chase, with a spin that puts us under caution once again here in Michigan International Speedway. Pace car leading the most laps today so far here at Michigan International Speedway as we've just crossed halfway in today's race. Marty, go ahead.
Good point, Alan. A lot of cautions today, huh? And here at Michigan, it's all about horsepower. So how does the Ford Brigade answer the challenge? One of their secret weapons lives right here in the Detroit area, and that is the subject of today's Built Ford Tough Moment. It's known as Cell 17, and it's not your average engine dynamometer. It's designed to give a read just on the horsepower of what an engine produces. This dyno is programmed with a powertrain characteristics of several racetracks, from Watkins Glen's shifting zones to the continuous RPMs here at Michigan. The premise behind Cell 17 is to optimize engine durability under realistic race conditions before an engine ever makes it into a Ford racing Taurus. Cell 17 not only used by Nextel Cup teams, but also Formula One, Champ Car, and the World Rally Championship Series. Green flag getting ready to come back out, Allen, as those Fords will chase the checkered flag.
Yep, 3 Fords in the first 3 spots. Elliott Sadler, Greg Biffle, and Mark Martin. car to the inside, the 0 is Ward Burton. 36th place. First car not on the lead lap.
Martin squeezes up in front of Brendan Gaughan. It was that Rusty Wallace trying to go 3 wide on the inside.
Briggs going to follow.
Both those guys are trying to say goodbye to Brendan Gaughan, but that can be so easy.
Oh, Jeff Gordon with a slide job there.
There's Jeff Gordon in the AOL car, his first race in the 30 car. Up front battling with these guys as Jamie McMurray dives to the inside, but meanwhile, Riggs, the 10 car, trying his best to get by Brendan Gaughan in 77.
3 wide, Dale Jarrett diving to the bottom of them.
And they're 3 wide behind them.
Here comes McMurray in the 42. 3 wide everywhere.
What a mess.
That's not a mess, it's exciting.
This is fun stuff.
The one who's thinking what a mess is Ward Burton.
Yeah, he said, I'm getting out. This is a mess.
That car is not handling to his liking at all. Nemechek 0-1, Harvick 29. That's for 11th and 12th positions and company. Tony Stewart digging down on the bottom there, trying to get back up front.
Sterling Marlin in the middle.
And up front for the lead.
Whipple trying to take a look on the inside of 38. Drives deep down in that corner.
Well, he drove that thing in.
And it's stuck. You just love to have a race car driving like that here, wouldn't you?
That's fun when you can do that. Not often.
And by the way, just an observation on Tony Stewart. We saw him there a little bit back in traffic. When we were calling the pit stops before, we talked about his tire getting away. His crew got a break because before the car left the pit stall, they retrieved the tire and brought it back to the inside half of the pit box, saved a penalty. I don't know if they held Tony there in the pit box until they got the tire back, but either way, it worked out for him.
And meanwhile, Mark Martin goes to second spot. Tries to chase down the 16.
Jarrett snuck up in there, didn't he?
Squeezing in between the Evernham Dodges. Jeremy Mayfield running in 7th. Casey Kane recovering to 9th. Remember, he was involved in a spin. It brought out the first caution of the race. That was way back at lap 4. He was as far down as 41st place at that time.
That's trash out there, Benny.
See, and that's why all this, they get debris on the grills. There's just so much paper around here blowing around.
Dale Jarrett trying to hang on to 8th spot. Dave?
And a win today would tie him with Rusty Wallace for the most wins of any active driver here at Michigan. Car's been very good for him on the last pit stop. Just a little bit tight on the exit of the corners. They made a track bar adjustment, changed 4 tires for DJ. Matt?
Well, what a great run by the Evernham cars. The 19 runs in 7th. Casey Kane working on the 88. Casey says the car is still too free. He's just trying to wait for those pressures to come up. Meanwhile, remember, the 19 took 2 tires on that last stop. He was a little free. What a great rebound by Casey Kane. 41st, now running comfortably in the top 10. Time to get a win.
Just took over 6th, Matt. Past Brendan Gaughan.
Remember that Casey Kane finished 2nd here, barely to Ryan Newman in the first race of this season back in June. A little hornet's nest going here.
Close racing.
Jarrett by Brendan Gaughan. Here comes Jeff Gordon by Brendan Gaughan. That's going to be for 8th place.
About right now, as much fun as Brendan was having up front, he's saying, should have had some tires to compete with these guys.
So Brendan sliding back about 5 spots in that last 2-mile lap here at Michigan.
And we see the 9-car Casey Kane in front of Dale Jarrett. In June, I don't think I've ever seen a faster race car than his was, trying to chase down Ryan Newman those last few laps. I was so impressed with how he was able to catch Ryan Newman and almost get by him before the checker flag.
9,600 on the Hendrick cars. Remember we talked about that earlier? What was Mark turning? About 9,000. So some of these guys that are comfortably in the chase are turning their engines a lot more. which, I don't know what Jimmy Johnson had in it for a gear, but...
Hey, Matt, what about the 9 car? What are they saying?
Same car he finished second with here in June. Remember back to Michigan in June, he was 19th with 18 laps to go. And if he had a few more laps, like they've said all year, several times, he could have gone to victory lane. They feel like this could be their best shot. Jeff Gordon told me today he was more concerned about the 9 and 19 than anybody else.
And Rusty Wallace, his good day, is in trouble. And this cannot be an ordinary stop because he came down pit road way faster than pit road speed, Bill.
Yeah, and that's because he doesn't have any RPMs, because he doesn't have any power, and that's because he may not have any more motor. Hood goes up, Rusty sits in there. This is a heartbreaker for these guys.
Rusty Wallace running well today.
And you talked about it just a moment ago, that 9,500 RPMs. It's difficult to get these things to last for very long at that kind of RPM.
Benny, it's horsepower or heartbreak, isn't it?
It is.
Well, that's a point to talk about a rule change NASCAR has made this week to look ahead to next season. NASCAR is going to determine a gear ratio limit for each race to try and limit the maximum RPMs that each car will turn. They're trying to, by putting this rule in, reduce the team costs for research and development and maybe help the smaller teams remain a little more competitive with the larger teams in the horsepower department. Reaction to the gear rule for next year?
Well, I personally think it's a good rule. You know, most of the teams don't like it, but I think it's a good rule because right now, to lease an engine to run a year is about $2.5 million. If they continue this RPM race they have going on right now, 2 years now, 3 years from now, it'll be $3.5, $4 million. And somewhere along the line, I just think we've got to stop spending so much money on these cars because we battle for the lead. We eliminate so many teams with that kind of price.
I disagree. I think that they're just going to take that money that they're spending on engine development and put it somewhere else. Oh, so, yeah. You know, it's not going to, I don't see how it's going to, I see what they're trying to do, but they're just going to take that and they'll work in a different areas.
Team owners I talked with in the garage area this weekend about it basically split. Some of them in favor of it, saying we've got 250 gears in our inventory, and there's no way we need to have that much. We're getting gears that are just 2 points apart from another gear, and that's ridiculous. Other teams said, just what you said, well, it's not going to save us any money. We'll spend it someplace else.
And the gear rule they're talking about is NASCAR will tell them what they'll have 2 choices to make that weekend. Here this weekend, they're running a 3.80. When NASCAR makes the rules, it may be a 3.70 or a 3.75. That's the only 2 that you can run. You don't have to go buy new gears. They've all got the gears. You can only use those 2 ratios.
Rusty Wallace's car pushed to the garage. You're watching Jeff Gordon try and take 4th place away from Casey Kane. Dale Jarrett lurking in the draft.
Scott Riggs hanging in there pretty tough.
Sure is.
No, you're not clear. You're not clear, Jeff.
There's your old Dave Discovers about 7 miles an hour faster, right? The high side, keeping the engine RPMs wound up, not binding the car as much, not turning the steering wheel as much to make the sharper corner.
Got to have a lot of motor to be able to run down on the bottom and pull off a pass. A lot of torque.
These cars are about, we see Casey Kane trying to take over the 3rd spot from Riggs. These cars are almost 5 seconds behind the leader, Mark Martin.
Casey Kane on the restart at lap 50 was 27th. He's trying to get 3rd now.
And he's got it.
Great rally. Ooh, boy.
That was close.
See if there's any fender damage on either one of those cars. High speeds here in Michigan, you need all those highly tuned aerodynamics. Jeff Gordon through Scott Riggs. Here comes Dale Jarrett. And he is through as well. So Mark Martin leads, Greg Biffle 2nd. Now Casey Kane is 3rd. Jeff Gordon is 4th. And Dale Jarrett rounds out your top 5. We are just past the midway point of today's race here at Michigan International Speedway. Mark Martin just outside the top 10 in the race to the chase, entering today, looking for a 5th victory at Michigan International Speedway. Michigan International Speedway and NASCAR on TNT with the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. A little bit more than halfway through today's 400-miler. Mark Martin, the race leader, our Stacker 2 NASCAR Nextel Cup track back. We talked about lead changes earlier being one of the records here at Michigan. 65 lead changes in a race before. This place in Talladega, the only two Nextel Cup tracks to host races with over 60 lead changes.
And we'll be going to Talladega this fall. What they have one time there, about 80 lead changes, if I'm not mistaken. And that was just at the start-finish line.
It was 67 was the day at Talladega you're thinking of.
Yeah.
65 here, which was on 1981 with Richard Petty winning that race.
All of a sudden, Greg Biffle, Mark Martin is starting to pull away a little bit, but all of a sudden, Biffle is closing just a little bit.
Rusty Wallace fell out of the race a minute ago, Dave.
The all-time leading winner here among active drivers at Michigan, but Rusty, not today. Do you know what happened to the motor?
Not really. It's either broke a piston or a rocker arm. And a lot of times we've been having just tons of valve spring problems with our race team here lately, and I'm sure that's probably what happened again, but I'm not for sure. Being a car was fast as lightning. I learned so much stuff from my Busch Grand National car to make this thing run. It was amazing how much it helped. And we put a lot of stuff that Blake and I and the guys back in the shop that worked onto this car, and Jeffrey and the engineers did it. My God, it was real fast hot rod today, and I was real proud of it. But gosh, we got the speed. We're running out of gas. We're blowing engines. We're breaking transmissions. We're breaking pieces and parts, but the car's flying every week. I don't know. I guess it was just this year wasn't meant to be, but we're trying.
All right, he mentioned the Busch Series. He made his first start in that series yesterday since 1997. Like you said, got a lot of good information, but motor wouldn't hold, Alan.
Somebody may be out of a ride.
Oh, yeah, Rusty's Busch car, yeah.
Doing that
if he
well.
felt he learned that much more.
Yeah.
Rusty's teammate, Ryan Newman, remember, started off the race on pit road before the green flag even waved, then came down for an unscheduled stop about lap 22 or so. Was just on pit road again under the green flag. Let's get an update there.
Ryan had to come down pit road because for the third time, Alan, they had debris on the grill. The water temperature was up to 260 for Ryan Newman. The car, he said, was tight. He said, loosen me up, loosen me up. They loosened him up with wedge. They pulled off a wrapper. It was a plastic wrapper that was on the front. Again, this is the third time they've had a wrapper on the front grill, the 12th car today. He's going to get that third Michigan win in a row. He's got a lot of work to do.
And he'd come back up as far as 14th, Marty, and now he is back one lap down in 32nd place.
It's up at 1 and 2 where we see a lot of the garbage flying.
Now, Mark Martin is leading. Remember a little while ago, his teammate, Kurt Busch, had a little wild ride off of turn number 2 and spun and went all the way back to 34th place on his pit stop. Well, Kurt is ripping his way back up through this field.
Yeah, he's up to the 11th spot. And by the way, when he made that pit stop, yes, that was against NASCAR rules. Pit road was not open. And as Alan said, he had to start at the rear of the field. That was his penalty for an early pit stop.
So trying to climb back up and rejoin Mark Martin and Greg Biffle, his Roush teammates, at the head of the pack.
We've seen tape on the debris on the grills today. Let's show you what we're talking about as we go inside our Home Depot garage. And basically what we're talking about is hot dog wrappers. There's the grill openings where the air goes through to cool the water and the oil. They have tape on the grill that closes up some, more tape. So that's all they have. But all of a sudden, debris, a hot dog wrapper, anything that closes up that opening, and soon you have no air going to the radiator at all. It overheats. In the garage, you have to go.
And that is what happened to Ryan Newman a minute ago. That has put him way back in 32nd place. Race for third, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon. With Jarrett easily clearing the 24 in that set of corners.
And Dale Jarrett, the last few laps, has been the fastest car on the racetrack. Looking at the scoring monitor.
Jarrett, not yet a winner so far this season. Bill told you earlier, last win for Dale, Rockingham, second race of 2003.
Let's see what these guys are turning RPM-wise. I know they've been out there for a little while, but it's on 92, 9300. Whoops. Well, try another time.
Talking about Kurt Busch coming back up through the field. Let's put an eyeball on him. There's Kurt now up to 10th place.
Unbelievable.
From 34th. Rocking. There's the scoring serial on Kurt. Look at the progress there.
Quick. Yeah, extremely although the positions that he gains now, the struggle is going to become a little bit more difficult because, let's face it, 9th through 1st are about as fast as he is.
And he's 16 seconds behind the leader.
Yeah.
Caution brings him right back up.
Oh, yeah.
And the way things have gone today, who's going to bet there won't be another caution between now and the end of the race? I'm not. Mark Martin out in front. 250 miles into today's race from Michigan International Speedway. Mark seeking his 5th win at this 2-mile oval.
It's just a feather, 1 pound, 1 feather.
Find the rhythm, find the flow.
Guess what? Caution flag's out again.
Another caution flag, another break, another caution flag. And no, he didn't hit anything, just a left front tire went flat, and when it did, it just started shredding and almost took off the left front fender.
I'd say that's pretty much
taken off.
Taken off.
Yeah.
And so a very good day for Elliott Sadler has turned kind of ugly. Not the way he wished to enjoy his 200th start in NASCAR's Top Series. 9th caution on the day. I don't know what it is. Is this full moon night or something? Check the lunar calendar, please.
And that's why NASCAR throws the caution flags for debris, because it looks to me like that he ran over a piece of debris and bam, cut the tire, he went flat, and did all that damage.
So Sadler going to get some work done on his car before he'll be able to rejoin. Led earlier in the race for 9 laps, and here come the leaders to pit road. Having just wrapped up the longest green flag stretch of the day so far. Matt?
Casey Kane faded out of the top 5 to the 6th position. He says the car is kind of weird. It's both loose and tight. A little bit of that may be the fact that the sun is going in and out. They're going to back up on the adjustments they made on the last stop and also make a track bar adjustment. Bill?
Mark Martin on pit road. The car just a tick tight. They talked about air pressure, but you can hear Mark saying, let's not mess it up. Just make a chassis adjustment. It's 3/4 of a round. He'll be on his way, still working on the left side. This is taking a while, Dave.
For the 88 of Dale Jarrett, crew chief Mike Ford said, did you like that track bar adjustment last time? Yeah, give me some more. They did that in 4 tires. Marty?
Tony Stewart came down pit road, Dave. He said the car is kind of weird as well. It goes from extremely loose to extremely tight. There's no middle ground. They made a wedge and a track bar adjustment, trying to fix that car up a little bit for Tony.
Tire loose in the middle of pit road, as you see. A couple cars might have made some...
We're Mr. Look on the left rear. We've got to come back in.
Uh-oh, that was Martin.
That is Mark Martin.
No.
Oh, man.
And there were a couple cars might have made some contact avoiding that tire that obviously came from the 77 team. So Brendan Gaughan will be starting at the end of the line. And we'll see if anybody picked up any body damage on the run to pit exit. Jet blowers are out, cleaning up the debris from Elliott Sadler's car. We'll be back and reset it for you in a minute on TNT.
Nextel Cup Racing from Michigan on TNT is brought to you by Chevy, the winningest name in racing, an American revolution. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. And by Mountain Dew, drink up, throw down.
Here at Michigan International Speedway, Greg Biffle is now the leader as the track cleanup continues from Elliott Sadler, shedding tire and bits and pieces of left front fender down the racetrack. We told you just before we went to the break, Mark Martin was coming back to pit road for a missing lug nut on the left rear. He has come back to pit road, made a second stop, comes out in 28th position, and the subject of that missing lug nut is quite vigorously being debated by his crew chief, Pat Tryson, with the NASCAR officials in his pit.
I think... No, go ahead, Bill.
Well, what they're saying, what Pat Tryson is discussing with the NASCAR officials, is that the lug nut was actually on the stud. that it does not have to be tightened. It has to be in place on the stud. They're saying when the car came back to pit road, that's when the stud came off. Now, that's the front, the left front. The one they're talking about is the left rear. And you can see the official right there indicating that it was not on when he left pit road. When he came back down pit road, Tryson's argument is that the lug nut was there, and it just came off. You can hear Pat talking to Mark, saying that's not a penalty. Actually, you may not be able to hear that, but I can. But he's telling Mark the lug nut was there. It should not be a penalty. He has vigorously but professionally carried on this argument for a good 5 or 7 minutes now.
Yeah, it looks like he's pretty sure of himself, too, because
you could see right at the end of the replay, the left rear tire changer, you could see him reach to the ground to pick up a lug that had fallen off the stud. So the debate is simply whether he got it on before the car left. And the rule book does not say the 5 lug nuts have to be tight, right, as Bill said. It just says you have to have 5 lug nuts on the wheel. So they'll debate that. The jet blowers will continue to clean up. We'll take advantage of the extended caution to get in another break. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Sports back live at Michigan International Speedway, about to restart today's race with Greg Biffle now leading and Mark Martin back in 28th place. More on the Mark Martin situation in a moment. First, we go back under green.
Going down to the restart line as Biffle accelerates away, tries to get away from Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, and Casey Kane.
By the way, wow, look at that.
Wow.
Gordon got through the center much better than Biffle right there.
And Kurt Busch trying to take over the 3rd spot, 4th spot, something. Trying to go forward.
For the lead, Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, 24-16. By the way, Ryan Newman, the lucky dog at that last caution. Yes, he's back on the lead lap. Don't ever count him out. Biffle holds on.
Biffle holds on, and Kurt Busch not able to pass anybody.
So Kurt back in 5th place. 30 cars on the lead lap, in part due to the fact that the green flag racing has been interrupted quite frequently today.
Casey Kane sneaking up on Dale Jarrett.
And what Jeff Gordon wanted in front badly, because he feels like aerodynamics being what it is, if he can get in front of the 16 car and get some clean air on that 24, he might be able to stay in front of it.
He may have company.
Casey Kane to the outside of Dale Jarrett for 3rd. The rally continues. Impressive drive by the 9, Matt.
An awesome day. He is turning this race into. Now, Casey said, we told you under the pit stop, the car was weird, going loose and tight as he still tries to make up room and get this car to the point. One thing he did say under the caution, the car, he said, the engine was making a weird noise. I asked Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, he said, I don't know, the way our day has gone so far, where nothing has gone right, no telling what it could be.
You can hear the crew members yelling in the background as Matt made that report from Casey Kane's pit. He took 2nd place away from Jeff Gordon, and he is right on the back deck of Greg Biffle for the race lead.
And Dale Jarrett took 3rd spot away from Jeff Gordon. And I tell you, Casey Kane, just like in June, he's getting that top line, that high line, to work beautifully. He is blindingly fast up there.
Outside of Biffle.
He is there.
Behind them, Kurt Busch has gotten around Jeff Gordon, putting the 24 back to 5th.
There it is. He's got him.
From 41st to 1st. He spun out at lap 4. He leads at lap 139. Casey Kane out in front at Michigan.
Pretty impressive, Matt.
Tommy Baldwin came on the radio and said, good job, Casey. That's 5 bonus points. Remember, they came into this race 11th in the championship standings, trying to get in that chase. 24 markers out of the top 10 coming into today.
Good way to get back in.
Biffle, gonna look low.
He can call he wants.
Yeah. There's a lot of racetrack down there because Casey Kane is running that high line, but Casey is really, really fast up there. Well, let's don't forget about DJ. The last run, that long green flag, the longest green flag run we've had. At the end of it, the 88 Dale Jarrett was the fastest car.
Matt talked about the race to the chase and Casey Kane. Remember, Jimmy Johnson fell out of this race earlier with an engine problem, potentially losing his championship lead and really tightening up the top 5 and farther on back from 6th through 15th. Well, that's going to get a lot tighter, too.
Kane back in.
Kane is to 9th, has moved into 9th if he can just stay here. His teammate, Jeremy Mayfield, has gone back to where 11th, only 17 points out.
So there you go.
And Mark Martin, as well as he was doing a little bit ago, now the fact he's way back in the field, he's now 111 behind.
So Mark Martin, after leading coming onto pit road earlier at lap 130, had the issue of the missing lug nut.
Oh, and Robbie Gordon gets in the wall off turn 2.
Here comes Mark by him, and that's going to be for 16th place. Mark restarted 28th a few moments ago.
Wow, he is cutting through the field.
Yes, he is.
So Mark Martin continuing the rally. And the replays, you know, looking at those replays a couple of times as we had the chance to there during the caution a minute ago, you could see the left rear tire changer reaching down to put a lug nut back on. Whether it was on the tire or not when it left the pit stall is the subject of the entire debate. Watch the left rear tire changer, watch him reach down, and watch the official react to his reach. See?
And the question is if he got it on or not.
Now, that was the first pit stop. When he came back in for the penalty stop, if you will, the question is, did he put a lug nut on the stud, or was he just spinning one on that was sitting there?
It looks like he put one on the stud. But meanwhile, battle for the lead. Biffle is coming back on Casey Kane. And takes the lead. Well, maybe.
Oh, yeah, he's got it. So Biffle leading now for a 5th time in this race.
Boy, Biffle's car is awfully good in 3 and 4.
So to pay off the Mark Martin story, let's hear from his crew chief, and Bill will interview him now.
We're going to try. Obviously, he's on the radio to his driver, giving him tremendous encouragement, giving him lap times as he comes in front of the pit box on the front stretch. He just saw the video we just ran on the air. Your argument is the lug nut was there.
That's the rule. It's just got to be there. It doesn't have to be tight. And as you saw on your film, that it was there, and you know, it was a bad call. And now we got to fight from behind, but we're going to still try to win this thing. The Pfizer Batman 4 has been awesome all day, and Mark's done an awesome job. And it's a shame to lose a race because of a bad call.
You're sure it was there, Pat?
I saw it right there, and you just saw it on tape. It was there, and it's a bad call, and we'll see what happens.
Pleaded your case.
Yeah, but they weren't listening, so it doesn't really matter.
And he's got to get back on the radio every 38 seconds to call out lap times to his driver. So their argument is going to be that it was there.
Pat thought our video was a lot more conclusive than I did.
Yeah, me too.
I think what they're looking at is they're looking at the hand of that tire changer to see if there's a lug nut in that hand.
Yeah.
You have to understand, he knows exactly what he's looking for. We're just looking at it and, you know, speculating on what happened.
Yeah, we don't have a good angle at that either, Bill, so you're right.
So Mark Martin trying to rally back through. He's up to 14th place now.
Tell you what, Kurt Busch has made a very nice rebound from that spin off turn 2 a few laps ago. He's up to 3rd spot, getting by DJ.
Yeah, the guys that spun today, 2nd and 3rd spot.
Yeah. Not too shabby. So, Greg Biffle having an 8/10 of a second lead now over Casey Kane, with Kurt Busch, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon making up the top 5. 30 cars on the lead lap at this point.
NASCAR has just told us that the rule book says on that lug nut that it has to be installed.
Which means what? Just has to be on or tight.
Can't measure the torque. It can't be a torque issue.
It can't be a torque issue because you can't measure that.
So installed, does installed mean that you run it on the threads? Is that installed, or? Come on, help me out, BP.
That's a very
I'm trying to get an answer out of you here.
Installed is a very vague term, but again, I think common sense would tell you that it installed and tightened on the stud is what I would think it would mean. But obviously, Pat is arguing that the rule says install means
On.
the stud.
It's got to be as on.
Yeah.
And that's how I always thought it was. I didn't think they had to be tight, but because I know I got some wheels that were tight all the time, so that's when I figured it was okay.
Coming up to 3/4 distance in this race in another lap. Greg Biffle is out in front. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Michigan International Speedway sold out for a 28th straight race for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. 136,373 seats, and they're all full. Greg Biffle is out in front now. We check our Little Debbie lap leaders. 13 different drivers have paced the field today. Mark Martin has led the most laps, followed by Jeff Gordon and young Mr. Biffle.
And Mark would certainly love to get those bonus points for leading the most laps today. That would ease the pain somewhat of the penalty he had to incur. But right now, the last lap, Mark Martin was the fastest car, and he's currently shown in the 11th position.
Yeah, he's definitely getting there, BP, but again, he's 11 seconds back.
He's very inspired.
Yeah, I would think so.
Let's check and see how Mark's progress is against that of the leader, Greg Biffle, with our AOL top speeds.
And he's going to need a yellow in order to win this race.
Biffle a little better than 179.3, clearly faster than second place.
I'm going to wait down and get to Mark, see what...
Actually, I think our top speeds only goes 10 deep. Oh, there was Mark. He did get 10th this lap.
Well, he probably passed somebody that was 11th last lap.
Yeah, he passed Joe Nemechek.
So right now, Biffle is pulled out to a little over 2 seconds on Casey Kane.
Greg Biffle leading today. 5 different occasions for 34 laps. He took the lead for the first time in this race at lap 43. Again at 51. Again at 104. And again at 144.
Kurt Busch running that low line through 3 and 4. It looked like he had gained on Casey Kane, but once they got straightened out off the corner, I said, wow. That momentum off that top side is just unbelievable.
We're going to take a break here and come back and talk some strategy and follow up on the Mark Martin situation. Greg Biffle leads at Michigan. Pretty interesting turn of events here recently at Michigan. In the GFS Marketplace 400, Greg Biffle is out in front by 3.5 seconds over Casey Kane. Mark Martin is charging through the top 10, trying to rally back from a penalty a minute ago. Gillette Young Guns have led 45% of all laps this season. We check how they're performing today. The first micro power shaving system from Gillette is the new M3 Power, the new power behind the Gillette Young Guns.
And there we see Mark Martin. He's just passed Matt Kenseth to take over the 7th position. How fast is this 6th car?
It's pretty fast and pretty mad.
Yeah.
Now, just to go back, here is the specific language in the NASCAR rulebook. This is section so-and-so, but I've got it in front of me here. When pit stops are made for tire changes, all lug nuts must be installed before the car leaves the assigned pit box. When a NASCAR official detects a violation, the car must return to its assigned pit box for inspection.
Okay.
Well, so
got that part of it.
The question is the definition of the term install. And we asked that question to NASCAR Race Control, and the answer we got back was it must be on and tightened.
Well, that's what common sense would tell you, but it doesn't say that. I mean, Pat Tronson will tell you that it doesn't say that. It says installed on the stud.
Well,
but common sense would tell you that's what it would mean.
Okay, so, but now, from now on, it will be on and tightened.
That's not going to help either. What's your definition of tight?
Well, that's right, because you can't take a torque wrench out there and see what we're talking about.
I understand what NASCAR's saying, and I know we're prolonging this point, and Mark's coming through the field like a rocket, but it's always been the understanding down here, if it's on the stud, you're good to go.
The way I understood it, too. But
that's how all these rules get refined and defined over the years as situations come up and the language gets changed somewhere down the road.
But the problem is that, you know, Mark Martin is racing, has been for the last all year, but for the last, especially the last 2 or 3 months, racing his heart out to try to get in his top 10 to be in the chase for the next NASCAR Nextel Cup. And it looked like today that he might have a shot to gain and get up there really close to 10th.
And that's a good point as to why the emotion as well involved in this argument, although Mark's doing a pretty nice job of recovering to this point. Dale Jarrett, 3rd place. Jamie McMurray trying to follow him through around Kurt Busch. We have 38 laps to go in this race. Let's talk about what we might see on final pit stops and what some of the drivers are saying about their cars as we head into the final miles. Yes, we've tried this about 5 times today, and every time the caution has come out. But ladies and gentlemen, through the field, starting with our leader, Greg Biffle. Arvisa through the field. Mr. Weber, is this you?
It is me, and I'll try and do this quickly so we can get through it before something happens. That's 16. It is just good. It is just darn good. Look at it about lap 180. I tell you what they're going to do, but they're not going to tell me. So that's the story for Biffle. We'll see what happens. Not about the 9.
Casey Kane feels like he's losing most of his room going into turn 3. So that's where it's pretty much tighter than down in turn 1. They're talking about what adjustments they're going to make on the final stop. It should be in about 12 to 15 laps.
That would be Dave's report on Dale Jarrett. There he is.
Hi, guys. The 88 car of Dale Jarrett has gotten really, really tight. At the same time, the 97 car right behind him of Kurt Busch, well, that car, according to Kurt, is getting beat off turn 4, so they just swapped positions. Weber?
The 42 of McMurray also really, really tight. Pitted on lap 129. They got to make one more stop. It's going to be a potpourri here on pit road. Dave.
All right, a little more on the 97. His car really will start loose and then go to the tight side, so they made a wedge and air pressure adjustment to try to fix that last time, but as he said, he really feels like he's getting beat off that final corner. Weber?
Well, if you look out there, there's one car that is really on a mission, and that is the 6 car of Mark Martin, just very fast. The only thing he's asked about is how many laps to go. Pat Bryson encourages him. Want to commend the NASCAR officials. They kept their cool, even when Pat was very vigorous about the lug nut issue. So the officials down here did a good job. Gordon in the 24. Jeff wants to free the chassis up and then tighten the car up with air pressure. That's going to be a lot to do, especially if it's under green, and some guys are taking 2, Dave.
Bill, the 17 has struggled today. They've been as bad as 31st when the jack broke on a lap 71 pit stop. They picked them off one by one. On the last one, they went from 10th to 6th, and now they're all the way still in the top 10, maybe contending for a win. Marty?
Dave, Greg Zipadelli and the crew have worked very hard trying to find the middle ground for Tony Stewart. Car was a little too tight last time. They went 1.5 rounds of wedge in, trying to loosen it up. Last week's winner, Watkins Glen, trying to get another top 10 here today. Dave?
Who would have guessed the Green Lantern and Carl Edwards would still be running in the top 10 at this point? Carl's been learning all day. Main thing he's found is that his car works very well in the bottom groove, communicating, making small changes to his car, and staying in the hunt. Alan?
Carl just passing Jeremy Mayfield to move into the top 10 today. What a day for that young man in his debut in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series.
You bet. That's a great run for being a rookie. First time, first Cup race. I am great.
Impressed so much with Carl Edwards. I rode on the airplane with him up here, and to say he was nervous is
I bet.
Oh, man.
It's no pressure or anything.
Been a Roush Racing day. So far, we check our Napa field summary. 13 different leaders, a record besting, I had that right the first time. 9 caution flags today, and 11 cars out of the race, most notably including the championship leader, Jimmy Johnson, for a 3rd straight week. Biffle out in front. Final pit stops coming. Getting to those crucial last miles today here at Michigan International Speedway. He's setting up another Wrangler 5-star finish today, remembering back on Bill Elliott, August 17th, 1986, his 4th consecutive victory at this racetrack. He beat Tim Richmond by a 1.5 seconds. He swept both the 1985 and 86 races here. And for more on Wrangler 5-star finishes, go to NASCAR.com. Green flag pit stops, the final round beginning, Bill.
And this is an indication of what we could see. Jeff Gordon took 4 tires. 4 tires with 29 laps to go.
And Bill, he's forcing the hands of these other fast cars because he's going out there with these fresh fresh tires, 4 fresh tires, he'll be making up a lot of distance on the leader when they make their pit stop. Matt?
The first of the 2 Evernham cars to hit pit road is Jeremy Mayfield. They're going to make a wedge and track bar adjustment. Up a round and a half on the track bar. The car was tight. The left side tire is going on. Saul's a little bit of trouble on the left rear, losing valuable time. Finally, he is down and away.
Oh, you saw the emotion there. The front tire changer jumping up and down, wanting that car to go.
Price smash seconds, everything here.
Sterling Marlin, Terry Labonte also in. Scott Wimmer, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Spencer, Michael Waltrip, and Casey Mears have made their final pit stops as well.
Carl Edwards making his pit stop coming down pit road is Jeremy Mayfield. There's the Carl Edwards. Dave Burns coming to you.
Another part of the learning process. They told him don't come in too hot. He comes in pretty hot. He skids through his signboard. Tough for a Carl Edwards. First time in this car. Stalls the motor as well. He'll refire it. They're getting a wedge adjustment. His car was a little bit tight. 4-tire change for Carl. This is about the only mistake he's made all day. Now he'll have to recover.
I don't know if it costs too much. It's 15.1. It's a good pit stop. The crew guys recovered excellent.
Yeah, they did.
So Carl rejoins the chase. And Kyle Petty, Jeff Green, and Ward Burton also making green flag pit stops, while Greg Biffle continues to pace this race.
Go for the wheel, pal. Mikey, do you think you can hang on to it? Put it down in the right rear, though.
That was
Do
Biffle.
whatever you want. I'm coming this time.
Yeah, you better hurry and put that.
3 tires a cam. 2 tires in 1 cam.
Was that
the other guys are coming too, so do whatever you want. We're going to do 2 tires in 1 can of gas.
That's Pat Tryson.
Yeah, that's Mark Martin's radio.
That's the 6. Yeah, they were talking about 4-2. 4-2.
So all of the front runners come in here with 25 laps to go. Here's Biffle.
And this is supposed to be a 4-tire change for Greg Biffle. The windshield tear off, peeled away. Let's see if they stick with 4. They come around to the left side. They will take 4 tires. Now about 5 stalls in front of him. Mark Martin is on pit road. They're doing the right side on the 6. We go to Dave.
Dale Jarrett's car tight, wedge and track bar adjustment. 4 tires already gone. 97 of Kurt Busch is in as well, guys. 4-tire change for Kurt as well.
And look at Mark Martin. He's right behind
Greg
Biffle.
Yep. Good call. Well, we'll see if it's a good call.
It's a good call.
But that was the only shot you had.
Is the only call. You're right.
Casey Kane is in, Matt.
He slides to a stop. Casey Kane trying to win his first Next Show Cup race. The Dodge boys trying to help him do it for Tommy Baldwin. They all have stickers, 7NY. Tom Baldwin Sr.'s car number. Trouble on the left side, a little bit of slow on the left side. The lefts are on, and he's away.
Matt, Tony Stewart comes down pit road. They've had a top 10 car all day, trying to make it a top 5 car. They've had 5 top 5s in the last 6 races. Slides to a stop perfectly in his stall. The car a little too loose when he gets back to the gas. Half round of wedge out of the right rear. Half round of wedge into the left rear. Trying to tighten it up a bit for Tony Stewart and the Home Depot team. 4-tire change done. They dropped the jack. Be a little slower than they would have liked.
Leader of the race is Scott Riggs, who has not yet come onto pit road. And then it's just about going to cycle back to Greg Biffle and Mark Martin, who about run nose to tail on the racetrack. Riggs and Brian Vickers, the 2 who have not yet made their final pit stop. As you look at Riggs there in the 10. Great day for this 10 car. They used a little strategy to get him up front, but they've really had a solid drive.
A terrific day.
They've needed that.
Scott Riggs, one of the very bestest Rookie of the Year contenders, Bahama, North Carolina, his hometown.
If you wonder, that's just north of Durham.
He's going to bypass pit road for another lap.
I would guess now that they've played their hand, they want to wait. They'd like to get a caution flag and put a lot of cars down. Right now, only 13 cars shown on the lead lap.
So while Riggs runs down the back straightaway, the guys who are in effect racing for the lead after the pit stops are Greg Biffle and Mark Martin.
And Biffle with those 4 tires is pretty much checked out.
He's put some distance on Mark that Mark is trying to hang on to in traffic. There you see Biffle, and there's Mark on the outside. So that's the race for the lead after the stops cycle out. And that's barring another caution flag. We'll see what happens. 21 laps to go. For Michigan, you're watching NASCAR on TNT. Biffle, who's got about a second lead on Mark Martin.
You know what we got to do? We got to cue the duck.
Yes, we haven't done that yet today. No. Set him up. And this question really appropriate after what's happened today. The last driver who failed to finish consecutive NASCAR Next L Cup races and still won the championship is who?
Good question.
I'll give you a hint. It goes back a little ways, and he's not leading the race now.
I know, I looked.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 1985, Darrell Waltrip failed to finish Martinsville and Talladega back-to-back. Still came back and won the championship that year. Jimmy Johnson now having failed to finish 3 straight races. Our Aflac NASCAR Next L Cup trivia quiz.
Casey Kane making the move on Dale Jarrett. On the high side, of course.
Oh, yeah, puts him in a 4th spot.
And it'll be 3rd here when Scott Riggs comes to pit road now. So Riggs in with 18 to go. And that hands the lead to Greg Biffle. And Dave has the stop for us.
It's yet another stop for Scott where they're making no chassis adjustments, which is good news. 2 tires stop, 1 can of fuel. That'll pick him up sometime, but it will not keep him in the lead by any means.
Well, won't keep him in the lead, and it's probably not going to get him a top 10 finish that he was hoping for, but still a good showing today by a team that has struggled for much of the first half of this season. Kurt Busch still in recovery mode by Jeff Gordon for 6th place.
Both those cars go by Kenny Schrader in the 49 car. Schrader's back in 29th.
Yep, just a lap down to the leaders here in this last stretch of race.
Now then, as the cars go by, Mark Martin, we'll see what kind of lead he has. He has about 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds on Casey Kane. Can he, with those 2 tires, Casey Kane with 4, can he stay in front? Can he stay in 2nd spot?
So you're done thinking about Mark Martin challenging Biffle if we don't get a caution. Now it's can he hang on to 2nd?
And, yeah, exactly. And 3rd.
Because right now, the last lap, Mark Martin gave up 0.3 of a second to the 3rd place car, Casey Kane.
But that was, like we talked about, that's the only gamble they could have taken to give him a shot to win this race today.
Yeah, we heard the radio conversation. That's what it was. Do you want to take a shot at winning this thing, or what do you want to do? Of course, they're being in that race to the chase and watching some of what's going on around them today. The gamble really had no effect on the chase because they were either going to win or they were going to finish 4th or 5th. Still a great points day as far as getting into the run for the championship is concerned.
But it's just, you know, to have whatever the reason that situation happened, you know, with the pit stop, it's a hard pill to swallow.
When you're behind the wheel of the race car and you get a penalty, and I mean, he doesn't know whether the lug nut was on, whether it wasn't. He's just got to drive the race car. He's only hearing what his crew chief is saying. How difficult to get your head back in the game and get right back to business.
You're furious. I mean,
and he did the best thing. He took it out on the racetrack and on the car. I mean, he has been driving this car. He might have been driving this hard anyway, but that gave him some extra motivation.
Right.
And Mark Martin, in the last 40 laps of this race, has been fantastic.
So Mark Martin trying to hang on to 2nd and salvage the day. Remember, he was as far back as 28th place after the extra pit stop for the installation of the lug nut on the left rear tire. Greg Biffle, 13 laps away from career victory number 2. What a rocket ship this kid's had under him all day.
The car has looked great. Gets to the center of the corner better than anybody out there today.
Biffle took the green flag today in 24th position. Quickly worked his way up into the top 10. Got up to 4th right after the first set of pit stops at lap number 30. And then took the lead for the first time at lap 43. He's led the most laps today, 6 different occasions, out front for 60 laps and counting as he comes to the line. You know, we talked about earlier this race being 70 miles southwest of Detroit and what an important day it is for some of the manufacturers. Benny, you and I were at a dinner with Jack Roush on Friday night, and a question was asked of him, what was his most memorable race here at Michigan? And he's won a number of them. He said the weekend that Ford Motor Company celebrated its 100th anniversary, and Kurt Busch won here. He said with his long association with Ford and winning here in their hometown was an extremely special win to him.
And this is his hometown. Yep. Unlike a lot of the other race teams, this is basically his backyard.
88 is gone by the 9 car. Something up with the 9.
Benny, you can feel the emotion down here in the 9 pit. 15 laps ago, Casey Kane came on the radio and said, something is wrong with the motor. It's not coming up to speed like it was earlier. He has swapped boxes. He just said on the radio 3 laps ago, it is starting to lose RPMs. They wanted to win this race for Tommy Baldwin. You can see the look on their faces. They're hoping that maybe something will change and he'll be able to get that car back up there, but he is slowly starting to fade.
Right now he's third, and Jamie McMurray is right behind him in that 42 car.
There's Tom Baldwin Sr., the crew chief's father, a NASCAR modified racer for decades, and a very successful one at that. Was killed in a racing accident in Thompson, Connecticut on Thursday night, if you weren't with us for the countdown to green. He was 57 years old. Funeral service is scheduled for the first part of this week. And Tom Baldwin Jr. choosing to stay here and work with his race team, saying that there wasn't anything he could do for his father and his family at this point. Everything was under control, and it was best, and he said his father would be awfully mad at him if he left here and didn't stay and be part of this race this weekend.
Yeah, I think all the racers understand. Yeah. Because when you're a racer, this is what you do, and this is what, you know, and I think it helps, too, being here and being focused on something else right now, but it's hard for other people to understand that.
So Kane now sliding back and trying to hang on to fourth spot as Jamie McMurray in the 42. The big star on the hood has come up on the back bumper to try and challenge Casey Kane for that spot.
He was right there a moment ago, but it looks like Casey Kane put a little distance in between them, yeah.
This looks like that Casey Kane, when they run across the traffic, that line that Casey is running seems to work better than Jamie. He's ran better high than Jamie could. Going by those lap cars.
Not going to be a real good points day for Bobby Labonte today, who sits in the chase right now, but
9th coming in, Wally only 82 points ahead of 11, and Bobby is in 26th place right now. Not good.
Kevin Harvick is back in 16th. Another driver that's close to that 10th spot.
And Ricky Rudd popping out of line to get in the mix of this. Rudd is not on the lead lap, back in 27th place, gets the service.
Oh, hang on there, Ricky. Boy, that car was going. Sliding up the racetrack right towards Bobby Labonte.
Yikes. Rudd getting the services of Michael McSwain, with whom he's had success before as a driver crew chief pairing. McSwain joining the Wood Brothers team, and he'll head their efforts starting this week at the shop and at Bristol next Saturday night.
Tony goes to work tomorrow. We're talking about back.
So right now, all focus on Greg Biffle in pursuit of his second NASCAR Nextel Cup win and his first of 2004. Bill?
And they've had a great day, Alan, certainly on the track and on pit road. On the countdown to green, we talked about the people you do see and the people you don't see that make it a team sport. Well, there's over-the-wall gang, or guys you do see every week. They got them out front today, and here they are.
Doug Richard, crew chief, San Jose, California.
Jeff Silver, front tire carrier from Winston, North Carolina. Adam Emmert, front tire changer, Kemi, Idaho.
Jeff Merkel, Jackman, Hot Park, Long Island, New York. TJ Hamilton, rear tire carrier, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Mike Hillman Jr., rear tire changer, Lockport, New York. Donnie Ratledge, gas man, Moxville, North Carolina.
John Eicher, catch cam man, London, Kentucky.
I'm Andy Ward, a pit crew coach, Kannapolis, North Carolina.
There's certainly been some turbulent moments for this team this season and for their driver, Greg Biffle. But there's one thing that cures a lot of that: winning, and they're on their way.
Yeah. Roush Racing trying to score a 1-2 finish if Mark Martin can hang on to second spot. Last 1-2 finish, Greg Biffle won that race at Daytona Beach, July 2003.
Talked about being with Jack Roush. He was honored by the Boy Scout dinner here on Thursday night and seemed to be really touched by what they did for him. There we see the cat in the hat. We actually auctioned off one of his hats. Brought $500.
Jack Roush talking about he and Greg Biffle and their time together and looking forward into the future. And, of course, there's been a lot of speculation during this season whether or not Greg Biffle would be in this 16 or with Roush Racing beyond 2004.
And he told me, Greg Biffle told me, when did I see him? Thursday night? That's right, Friday night with Jack, Thursday night, and he said he was going to be in the 16 car next year because he felt like they had something special there they can make into a winning team.
Well, I think him and Doug Richard have been working real well together, and that's hard to find in the garage here. That's what you look for when you're a race car driver, somebody that you can work with as a crew chief and have, you know, great chemistry, obviously.
Don't forget, next Saturday night on TNT, the Sharpie 500 from Bristol. Packed house, lights will be on, they'll be beating and banging, and TNT will have it all for you. Excuse me, starting live at 7 p.m., beginning with Discover Card Countdown to Green.
Yeah, that'll be anything but boring.
And as he runs across these slow cars, Biffle can take his time because he has a 7-second lead on Mark Martin. And Mark has a little over 1 second lead on Dale Jarrett.
Greg Biffle developed a desire to go racing. As a young man, developed that desire not only into a budding driving career, but into a race car building business that he used to fuel the financing needed to go driving. Was noticed running a short track series called NASCAR Winter Heat out in Tucson, California, when he made the long tow down from the Portland, Oregon area where he was born and raised.
People in Tucson, Arizona is going to get mad at you putting him in California.
I say California, Arizona, yeah.
But yeah, we saw him. Bill Weber and I saw this young man at Winter Heat, and I think it was right. We recognized right away that he had some talent, didn't we, Weber?
He certainly showed it early and often, didn't he, BP?
Yeah, that's unbelievable how well he ran there in Tucson. And so I looked around, told some guys I was going to cross the I thought could get a job done. And Jack Roush said, I'll try him. You know, the best part about it, the most humbling thing in the world, hey, white flag, one more lap. Most humbling thing in the world is Roush took my word for it. He never saw him race.
And put him through the old gong show process, and certainly it's all worked out for all of them. A Craftsman Truck Series championship, a NASCAR Busch Series championship, a first Nextel Cup Series win at Daytona, July 2003. Now half a lap from their first win of 2004. First half of this season, a struggle for Greg Biffle and this team. But after a couple of top 10s in the last 2 oval track races, he's going to come back to lead the most laps today and pick up career victory number 2. Vancouver, Washington's Greg Biffle wins at Michigan. Waiting on Mark Martin, there he is. It'll be 8.2 seconds, the final margin of victory. Ford sweeps the top 3 spots as Dale Jarrett comes home 3rd, and Casey Kane is able to nurse his car back to a 5th place finish. What a day for Greg Biffle. 24th starting spot for Greg equals the worst starting spot for an August race winner here in Michigan. With Harry Gant in 1992, we'll hear from he and some of the other top finishers when we come back to Michigan. Our winner is in victory lane. We look forward to hearing from him there in a couple of minutes. Greg Biffle just starting to get unstrapped. First, let's hear from the 2nd place finisher, Mark Martin.
Yes, teammate finishes 2nd. Mark, walk me through what happened with the lug nut in terms of what you know.
I don't know. We just had to come back. I don't think that matters. You know, we had to come back, and that was the deal. We had this Taurus ran like a Batmobile today, and I want to thank the Viagra team. They are the best team in the business, and everybody has problems and mistakes, including the driver. And I pile this thing in the concrete once in a while, too. So, you know, that's we're all in this thing together. We had a great enough car to run 2nd. There was 2 ways we could run 2nd. Take 4 tires and run 2nd, and know that we couldn't win, or take 2 and try to win. And, you know, we just didn't have the left side tires to get the job done. But I didn't know that at the time, and neither did Pat. So I applaud Pat Tryson and this whole Viagra team for trying. You know, we gave it our best shot to try to come back from the back of the pack.
He told these guys, be happy with 2nd. Bill? In victory lane where Greg Biffle will climb out, and I guarantee you this will be big. with the flash on the hood and the National Guard behind him. Greg Biffle and crew chief Doug Richard have their second career victory. Congratulations. That was quite a day.
I'll tell you what, I'm so excited. All the soldiers were over in Iraq watching this. This win means a lot to the whole team and everybody. And, you know, my girlfriend's brother lost his father-in-law this week. We're all thinking about him up here celebrating this win. But what a deal. Flash Gordon on the car. Fastest man alive, and he paid off today.
Well, your crew told me this morning this car was as fast as the Flash.
It was. I tell you what, Doug and the guys have done such a great job with these Ford Tauruses. You know, getting them to run with this shorter spoiler. You know, NASCAR's cutting another inch off the spoilers, and you know, we've just done all we could do, and it's so nice, all the support we get from the National Guard, Subway, Travelodge, and Jackson Hewitt, everybody. It's exciting, and we had a good run today, and the guys are working hard. Yates engines ran really good. Roush Yates engine program, and you know, broke a timing belt last week and won this week.
It has been tough at times this season for you, Greg.
Yeah, it really has. You know, I just wish my mom and dad and brother could be here with me to celebrate this win, but so I got to say hi to everybody back home.
You see that 6 behind you?
Yeah, I saw the 6 behind me, but thank goodness he only took 2 tires, and I knew it was over then.
All right, say hello to everybody in Tucson.
Thank you. Hello, everybody in Tucson.
Greg Biffle with his second NASCAR Nextel Cup Series win. More post-race from Michigan after this on TNT.
Nextel Cup Racing from Michigan on TNT is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Wrangler, makers of Wrangler Jean Company, a new generation of Wrangler. And by Subway. Living well and eating well is about making choices. We're glad we're one of them. Subway. Choose well.
While they take the pictures in victory lane, let's hear from some more of the top 5 finishers. Matt?
DJ and the 88 team have really come to life. A second, 2/3 in the last 6 races. DJ, how was your car near the end?
A little bit tight in the center. Kind of slide the nose there and could be a little bit loose off. So, you know, we tried some different things. Mike did a great job of adjusting, and just couldn't seem to get a hold of the racetrack like I needed to be real aggressive. So Greg Biff was a little better. Mark was definitely better. So we had about a 3rd place car. But this shows how far this team has come now that we can have a day that's not our best day, but yeah, we can finish in the top 5. The pit crew did a fantastic job, and just really proud of these guys and all the sponsors that helped make all of this possible. So we appreciate all of that, and raise a little more money for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation.
2 races at Michigan this year, 2/3. Marty?
Matt, at one point, Jamie McMurray told his guys, this is the best car we've had all year long. Do you think you had a shot to win this thing, Jamie?
Really did. After we made our second pit stop, I told him, I said, this is the best car I've had all year, guys. I said, if we can never get to some clean air, we'll be good. And when I passed Mark for the lead, I finally got clean air, and I got really loose, and, you know, had to let him go. And then, you know, we lost some spots in the pits. I overslid the car. I think we had a lug nut hang. And then we fought back from like 15th from there on. But really, really good day for us.
And the chase for the championship gained some ground. Bill? With Casey Kane here on pit road, 5th today, 10th now in the championship standings. An emotional day for you, just a little disappointing at the end, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a great day. You know, spun early and just got around. I was pretty loose I thought I was going to the front and ended up spinning. So we worked our way back in there, and you know, it was a tough weekend for everybody, especially Tommy, and his dad would sure be proud of him this weekend for the way he handled everything, and to run top 5 here I think is pretty darn good.
Okay, from 41st to the lead and a 5th place finish, 10th in the points. Alan?
Coming up, the finishing order from today's race and the very interesting championship standings when we return to Michigan.
Nextel Cup Racing from Michigan on TNT is brought to you by Nextel coast-to-coast walkie-talkies in under a second. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed. By Budweiser. It's time for a fresh one. Grab a Budweiser. The race is on. By Wellbutrin XL. Ask your doctor if Wellbutrin XL is right for you. And by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be.
And before we show you the finishing results in the championship standings, there is a new leader in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Dave talked with him just a minute ago.
Jeff, you're the championship leader for the first time since 2001, but I know you wanted to race for the win today. Why couldn't you?
You know, we just lost a handle on it. We were really good there at the beginning of the race, and the car was well balanced. And I don't know, there at the end, or, you know, really from halfway point on, I think that obviously the 6 and the 16 were really strong, and a couple other guys there, but they seemed to get better, and we just seemed to get worse. So not really sure. You know, we're just kind of happy to finish today. We got to definitely figure out what's going on with the engines. Mine didn't feel great there for about the last 60, 70 laps, so we certainly have some concerns there. But points lead it's good when you're racing for it, but it doesn't matter if you're in the points lead right now. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. So I just hate it for Jimmy and those guys that had trouble today, and look forward to those last 10, and hopefully you'll be saying that at the end of those 10.
Jeff Gordon finishing 7th today.
All right, let's check out how they ran today here in Michigan.
Carl Edwards, his first ever NASCAR Nextel Cup race, a 10th place finish. Very impressive. Very impressive.
A lot of guys chasing the top 10. Martin, Jarrett, McMurray, Kane. Good finishes today, finishing ahead of guys that are in the top 10 coming into the race.
And we'll go back and we'll find some of those guys trying to stay there. Ryan Newman, 14th. Kevin Harvick, 18th. And we got to go to the next page to find Bobby Labonte. Exactly.
Yeah. Tough day for Bobby, 26th place. And the rest of the rundown from today's race. Elliott Sadler, great car early. Left front tire, ripped apart the fender on his car. He limped the rest of the way home. And now the championship standings. With now 3 races to go in the race to the chase. Jeff Gordon, the new championship leader. Kurt Busch taking 7th spot from Elliott Sadler. And Casey Kane taking 10th place away from his teammate Jeremy Mayfield.
You see Bobby Labonte is only 7 points ahead of Casey Kane. And check this out. Mayfield 6 back. Mark 33.
Does it get tighter every week, or is it my imagination?
I think you're right.
It was 99 to 15th after Watkins Glen. So there you go. And it's on to Bristol. Next Friday night, TNT, 3 Eastern time, Bud Pole qualifying. Then at 8 Eastern, NASCAR Busch Series racing from Bristol. Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, the Sharpie 500. Starting with Discover Card countdown to green. The 6th day next on TNT on the East Coast and K9 on the West Coast. Greg Biffle celebrating his 2nd NASCAR Nextel Cup Series win as he took the victory today in Michigan. Vancouver, Washington's Greg Biffle wins at Michigan.